let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safeway Liquid Beer for the podcast.
Be right again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Check-in, come on, let's go.
Move it, fat boy.
It's the nasty big hello.
Get away from me, you horse's ass.
It's not static, EAM radio.
It's the cool and red hot Nielson show.
Owen loves his mama.
Everybody's tuning in, even my wife.
Who's in there with you?
And those Macramalla intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack a 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites.
Happy Wednesdays, everybody. Happy Wednesdays. Thank you very much for being with us today. Dusty and Lieutenant Eric with you on the Nielson Show. If you're here on YouTube first thing in the morning, just let it be known that we very much appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Hammer the thumbs up if you don't mind and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Of course, if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, please just tell your friends how easy it is to consume our content every single day from 6 in the morning until 6 in the afternoon. And then the numbers actually are pretty good on the evening replays as well. People just leave it on and listen throughout the evening. So it's great. Plus pre and post. Post game last night, I was listening to it driving home from the game with a smiling, happy Marshall Keith Nielson. It was an interesting experience last night because I wasn't sure what his reaction was going to be like to the game, because these are his two teams. Like, he loves the Oilers, but he's a huge Ovi guy and also loves the Washington Capitals. So we went to the game last night. He's in his Ovechkin jersey, and a lot of Ovi jerseys in the house there last night, but he's in his Ovechkin jersey and an Oilers hat that he has. And I did not know which way it was going to go. I was like, I wonder if because of the crowd, like, will he be pumped for the Oilers? Or is he going to actually cheer for the Caps? I literally, even as his dad, I had no idea how it was going to go. And then when Draisaitl scored early in that hockey game and everybody jumped up and was losing their mind, Marshall was just like, oh, like he was angry. And I was like, oh, I guess he's on the Caps tonight, which was interesting. The only thing that didn't work out is Ovi obviously didn't get one. But Marshall went home happy, late. He was very tired.
No, but you said he was laughing. I mean,
he's sitting
leaving a game like that and laughing is
he's sitting on the back of the truck on the way home, and he's kind of got his arm up on the middle console in the back, and he's got like his little cheek squeezed against his face, and I could tell he's bloody exhausted. But he's just smiling. And I said, "Why are you so happy, buddy?" He goes, "I love listening to the post game show, Daddy." I said, "Yeah, I know you do." Like, and he's a huge Reed fan. Like, as we're driving to the game last night, and Reed was not necessarily openly mocking the Oilers' random statement about how they support McDavid, like any of us doubted that they didn't.
They're also can't wait until he's back.
Yeah, which
that's the second part.
I'm glad they released that.
Yeah, well,
because I was wondering if they were excited for him to return or not.
Yeah, there's two parts.
Now
to the
that's
statement.
confirmed. Yeah, now that's confirmed.
2.5 lines in total, but that's kind of the second.
That's the second line. That was the second part. When I read the first part of the statement,
probably just stopped
I was
there,
like,
right?
oh man,
Yeah.
I wonder if they even want him back.
No.
And then when I finished the statement, I was like, oh good.
Yeah.
They fully support him and they're excited for when he returns.
But they look forward to quote.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that was
excitement is a strong.
Sorry.
They look forward.
They
to
look
it.
forward to the return. We'll get to that statement as we work our way through the show.
Really break it down. Hey?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what was the main motivation like in throwing out a statement that will be openly mocked by other fans around the league and by some of their own. Like there's a lot of people who follow on Twitter or listen to the shows who are like, I'm not necessarily sure why they did this. So why we'll get into it on the Fan Zone in the 6 o'clock hour. But
I mean, I'd argue paying upwards of $30 for a plate of nachos and throwing them in the ice is a bigger statement than the actual statement released.
yeah, I mean,
Not to condone that type of thing.
that's your key to text of the day today. Now, Macramalla day 2. Macramalla intros.
Absolutely.
And nacho texts.
Santander texts as well. The Jays, we're still riding high off those fumes. If you want to slide on in.
I have a feeling there's some sort of nacho text today that I'll get to play this with that will end up winning text of the day. Like that's how it goes down today, isn't it?
Twitter and X was invented for that very moment. You
Yeah.
go in there last night, and I mean, it was Gene Principes all over the place.
The moment that happened, I was just like, yes, texts. Hey, it's going to be good. I think somebody last night tweeted at Tommy as it looks like the fans just wanted to chip in.
A lot of them bordering on the cheesy side of.
I got
Yeah,
both ready to go.
I
got CSI Miami and I got Rimshot ready to go. All right, so have some fun with that today. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Colton in Quesnel to the Paris Jewelers inbox early this morning. Paris Jewelers, flexible payment options such as, do not pay for 1 year. Do not pay until 2026. You got to love that. 22 stores in 4 provinces. Shop in stores in Edmonton, West Edmonton Mall, Kingsway, Londonderry, Sherwood Park Mall, St. Albert Center online, parisjewelers.com. Get the bling. Morning, boys. Can we get a conch for the nachos that got the secondary assist on the Perry goal last night? Can you imagine if that happened in Vancouver and what Oilers fans would be saying about it?
Yeah, it happened here, so it's all good.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
It's fact we encourage it, eh?
That's a game we need to win with Vegas stumbling a bit. Play that one back in a month's time. We walk Washington. I'm not hitting the panic button at all. Thompson played phenomenally, as it pains me to say. He was great last night.
Yeah.
Like I thought
he was great last. He's been great leading into this game. This has been a run of play for him that's been on fire. So
I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry.
yeah, no, do your thing. They were saying though there was a few times where his glove wasn't exactly the most, shall we say, encouraging from a Capitals standpoint. Marshall was probably wincing a few times, a few shots on him that he didn't control. Might have been an option there, but no, he played lights out.
His legs are great for a big guy.
Yeah. And,
Like
and the
dynamisty
onside
quick.
goalie too, right? How are we doing it? Like the stick.
Yeah, reverse guy.
What a weirdo.
Yeah, you always wanted those hockey cards. You're like, guy with the right catches right. Those are always good.
Yeah, but no panic button. We're not. I mean, there's no panic button today.
He was very he was great last night. Like, what did the deserved to win meter say? 87% the Oilers deserve to win the hockey game.
Oh shoot, natural stat trick. I mean, we'll get to that in the morning after show. But
man, can't
you got
wait.
numbers. I got numbers.
I love your numbers. I'm so excited for them.
You want to talk Fenwick?
I
Want to talk Corsi?
Definitely.
These are the games you bring it out.
Those are the ones.
Like this is,
Corsi the hell out of them. Like, let's be honest.
all of the underlying numbers.
Yeah. No, with that being
Just
said,
not the scoreboard.
I thought they were the better team on the ice last night from a controlling play perspective. The numbers would back that up. Washington clearly finds ways to win. They have all year.
Yep. And a hot goalie, as we did mention.
Power play. Like, I thought the Oilers played well last night. Like, if you came here this morning being like, can't wait to hear the guys rip the Oilers. No. I thought they played well. I thought there were individuals who did not play well. Didn't like Arvidsson game last night. Bouchard was not engaged last night. Skinner, the second goal simply has to be stopped. I don't blame him on the other two, but the second one has to be stopped. So there are individuals in there that hurt them in that game. But I thought overall as a team, I thought they played pretty well. Now, they very much missed Connor McDavid on the power play.
Yeah.
Like on the power play, for sure, that's where it was most evident. And I mean, you're going to miss Connor McDavid no matter what. That's why the Oilers support him so much through the process of being suspended for a blatant cross-check to the face of somebody.
See, now it's making sense.
This has been a great swing, turning McDavid into the victim out of all this. It is quite the narrative that certain members of the media who are paid by the Oilers are trying to spin on this. Like it's the guy, he cross-checked somebody in the face. He should have been suspended. He got suspended. Suck it up. He'll be back. They're still one of the best teams. I think they're the best team in the National Hockey League.
Well, they lost to the best team in the National Hockey League.
I'd still take the Oil in a series
I get
with
it, but you know
McDavid
what I'm saying, numbers-wise. So it's not something like they're losing to, take your pick of any of the bottom dwellers or anything like that. Leon Draisaitl with the goal, I said, a chance for him to capture the Hart this week. I mean, there's no panic button. You get the rematch tomorrow, which is going to be, electric atmosphere, and then a matinee with the Sabres, who defeated the Canucks last night as well. So it's 1 week. He gets some time off. This is time for Leon to shine. Maybe pad the stats. You lose to the best team in the league, quote on air quotes, but yeah, no panic button here.
It's just I said this,
and a game's screaming out for him. You inject a Connor McDavid into the proceeds like that.
Well, I think if they have Connor McDavid in that game, they probably score when it's 6-on-4.
Yeah.
As opposed to just pass it around the perimeter for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
When it's 6-on-4.
The zone entries, everything such as that.
Yeah.
He was screaming out for a guy like him last night. But they've done it before, as I mentioned. The injury at the beginning of the season, Corey Perry spoke of this as well. I mean, they're not a one-guy team. As much as people want to, again, play that card and say, oh, well.
Except...
Well, he's a very important piece of the team.
But they only have 4 guys who've scored double-digit goals more than halfway through the season.
It's top-heavy. It's top-heavy.
And this is interesting compared to teams of the past. Like, offensively, they're kind of a two-man team. But as a whole, and the way you have to win hockey games, they're a pretty complete hockey team. You know what? Yes. Like lots of teams right now have 8, 9 guys. Not lots, but like some good teams have 8, 9 guys in double digits in goals. And the Oilers have 4. Like we mentioned the other day, Connor Garland, the only forward to have more points on the Oilers right now than Connor Garland, who is viewed by many Oilers fans as a plug over the last couple of days. Only McDavid and Draisaitl have more points this season than that guy. Like offensively this year, they have been predominantly a two-man team. But all the other elements of the game, these guys have roles that they're filling, and it's worked out very well.
Veteran squad.
Yeah.
They know what to do, when to do it.
I do wonder, can they find a little bit more offense from the rest of the group come playoff time? You're asking a lot of McDavid and Draisaitl to carry the offense through what should be a very difficult postseason, I think.
Shoggy and St. Albert, this upcoming 4-game losing streak is a direct result of McDavid's actions. This will be the closest to first in the division they will get.
See, I think Shaggy, we love you. Thanks for the internet stuff. But I think we're getting a little bit carried away here. I usually like to call a spade a spade. If the Oilers are blowing it, we'll call them out, not afraid to. And when they're playing well, we'll definitely celebrate them. I don't know why anybody would be panicking after watching last night's hockey game. And I know they've lost 2 in a row, and Skinner, that's the first time losing back-to-backs all year, I think.
Coming off a loss.
And losing again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not here to panic today. And I don't think you should be either.
Yeah, and Penner's Pancakes makes a good point, though, too. You were talking about the depth of the Oilers. That Capitals team is deep as well, and those 4 lines each have their own kind of, way of playing the game.
Yeah, they're sneaky deep. Yeah,
26 goals, Penner's Pancakes providing the stat for that Capitals 4th line. So
the 4th line on the Caps is 26 goals?
A bit of a difference there.
Holy smokes.
He's throwing that out in the nasty chat, so we may need to do a fact check. But
how about this? Guys, can I get a conch for my son, Zach? Gotcha. First regular season Oiler game last night, and thanks for the fans' first tip, saved $40. And did I have a wild YouTube Trev sighting at the game?
Uh-oh.
Trev, were you at the game last night?
Yes, I was.
Man, if I would have known you were there, we could have hooked up.
I could have hooked up.
God, where were you sitting?
233.
233. Did you win any free pizza?
Right,
I know they were dishing it out
That
over
was
there.
232.
Oh, okay.
I know.
I know when they said the pizza in 232, Marshall was like, "Daddy, are we in 232?" I was like, first of all, calm down. We just had dinner. You already had popcorn. We don't need pizza, but we weren't in 232.
Yeah, I've always wanted that. Like,
So I guess you would have had a sighting, maybe Papa Bear.
yes, that was me probably.
How about you getting recognized at Oilers games now, hey,
Yeah,
Trev?
that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I guess you were gone the last time I went to an Oilers game, but I got 3 photos taken with me, so that was kind of cool.
Last night? The last game.
time before.
Damn, nice work,
you
man.
were on the holidays there.
We had one guy last night. A couple nasties, obviously.
Dash in the park, I saw.
Yeah, Dash was sitting just down from us. But we kind of got in, went right to the seats, didn't move much after that. But a couple nasties must have been sitting below us because they were walking by saying, and then one guy comes up, taps my shoulder, and goes, "Hey, Dusty, I'm a huge fan." I said, "Oh, thanks, man." He goes, "No, I was talking to Marshall." And Marshall was
The
just
Barracuda.
like, yeah, he left, and Marshall was like, "What did he say, Daddy?" I said, "Well, he joked that he was a fan of Daddy's show, but then he said, no, I'm a fan of Marshall." And Marshall's like, like that stuff, he eats that stuff up. He loves it. So it was a pretty good night. So I'm putting him to bed last night.
You should have been giving away signed swimming caps.
Yeah, Barracuda is doing a swim cap signing in the intermission. Putting him to bed last night. It was like 10:45, and I'm laying there with him, and we always ask each other what our favorite part of the day was, and his favorite part of the day. We went to Stick and Puck yesterday at the River Cree in the afternoon, and worked on some stuff, and then went to the game, and then he goes, "Of course, Daddy, tonight it was a really fun night." I said, "Yeah, that's good, bud." And then he goes, "But tomorrow's going to be the worst day of my life." Like, because he's up so late on a school night. He's already just like, it's like when you're hammered and you lay down in bed and you're like, "Oh, tomorrow's going to suck." That was him. That was him last night after
Big
after the
yeti
game.
of coffee in class today.
Yeah, that's man. So I got to ask you this. This came up the other day, and parents. I guess this is a question for you, parents. Like, when do kids start drinking coffee?
Kids.
No, like,
Coffee.
but I asked this because I'm seeing it,
Really?
and it's disturbing.
Where are you
to me.
seeing this at? The rink, the
my
pool?
wife's seeing it at school. She's like, "Yeah, you should see this. Like, grade 6 kids are coming in with an ice cap," and I'm just like, "My God!" And then we were leaving our hockey practice on Sunday, and I won't name names, but one of the kids on our team, and we're U11, so it's 9 and 10-year-olds, and one of the kids on our team asked his parents, they're like, "Did you get me a coffee?" And I was like, "Wait, what? You're drinking coffee at 9 years old? Like, that can't be good for a child." It blew my mind. So yeah, parents, like, do your kids drink coffee? And when did you allow them to start drinking coffee?
Maybe it's decaf.
How old were you when you became a coffee drinker?
Well, I always would be going for breakfast and have a little sip.
Okay, like when you're a little kid.
Yeah, because
But a little sip.
it's a rush. You know, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
we get to
but
do
they're
a
not giving you
grown-up
a-
thing. Yeah, not a full cup. When
So
did I
when
have
would
the
you have
first-
had your first full cup? Like 18?
Probably no. Probably like 15,
15?
maybe 16. Like working. I think working because you don't like
when you start
don't
working.
like it, and
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, it's wake up fuel. Like even Brendan here.
Yeah, Brad.
I said, hey,
Brendan.
I said coffee's on. He's like, I don't really drink. I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, I just drink it to wake up.
Yeah.
But eventually you'll develop the taste. But to develop
I
a
still got to
taste
figure
at
out that
age
waking
is-
up. I could use that today. I'm tired today.
Well, you had a coffee last Friday.
Yeah, with that velvet cream.
You know what
in
it's
it.
like. Well, we got a couple bottles in the.
Do we have?
I didn't put any on this morning. You want? I can if you want.
You know what? I might have a
Would
coffee.
you have a cup of coffee?
Do we have velvet cream?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll have the coffee. Today.
You want a coffee?
I'm
coffee?
so tired. You know,
I got
I'll
some
have a coffee.
Fresh coffee.
But-
you got a coffee here.
Trev, you have a coffee too?
Yeah.
You want the coffee on?
We have a coffee
Get the
today?
coffee on. We'll
Well,
get the coffee on. Yeah, put the coffee on.
Let's put a pot on.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm very excited about this now. Just because that velvet cream makes it taste really good.
Then you get the jitters too.
Can you
Then you'll
get that at Tim's? Like, can I go to Tim's and be like, yeah, I'll get a regular but with velvet cream.
Oh, yeah, you got to give him a wink. It's a
You know, I'll just
speakeasy
bring my
thing.
own bottle and I'll pass it through the Tim's window. Here, pour that in there, please. Take a splash for yourself.
Have a little nip.
Man, I guess we're doing coffees today.
Cool.
You want a coffee?
Yeah, I'll
Hey,
take
coffee.
Wait, you're gonna have a coffee too?
He's having
Yeah.
coffee. We'll get a coffee.
I'm going to have a
You want
coffee.
coffee?
You should put a pot on.
Yeah, put a pot on.
We got to let's put a pot on. We're getting into
Ooh, you
we're
flying.
getting the coffees here.
Woo!
Hey, hammer the thumbs up for coffees. I'm worried about having coffee with velvet cream because what if I become if I start
Addicted.
drinking? Yeah, what if I start drinking
Like,
heavily?
it could be a morning routine for you.
I just need it today, boys.
Start calling you Will Fraser.
No nap yesterday, long
Yeah,
day. Yeah, it's
Well, some people do the energy drinks.
yeah. had to deal with a bunch of extracurriculars yesterday
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
did need to deal with because some of my fellow members in the media have the thinnest skin of all time. I'm not going to get into it any further, but one day there will be a book written and the stories will absolutely blow your mind.
6:22. I think it's time for the morning after show here to break down the game here.
Let's lay out the show for you today.
Moving along.
Morning announcements. We're going to get to those right away. The morning after show just after 6:30. The Fan Zone for fans first. Craig Button's going to join us at some time between 7 and 7:30. He's pre-taping some stuff for Bob McKenzie's like mid-season prospect rankings. And Craig's the best because he goes, oh, man, I forgot I have to do the show with McKenzie on Wednesday morning. I said, okay, well, I'll try to find somebody else. And like 20 minutes later, he texts me, he goes, if you can't find somebody else, I might be able to work it in. I'm like, Craig, you're the best. So when Craig joins us today, he might be full suit.
I'm sure if he tells Bob it's for you,
he might be full suit.
I think we should just keep the channel potted up, and he just kind of joins in whenever. Like he can interject whenever.
And I hope he gets confused.
Yeah.
And starts talking about three guys having a coffee together on Bob McKenzie's rankings today. That hurts coming up for James H. Brown. We will get into our cool bet segment today. Free advice for Damon Bunting. What do you need help with? We'll get into that. Macramalla will be by. Kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many. Greg Wyshynski, weekly rankings, Marmot Basin Snow Report, and the wrap for William Huff. So yes, we've got lots to get to. Macramalla intros. I'm going to sort through those here at some point as well. And we want those nacho texts. Right, that's how you're going to win text of the day today. Text of the day for A and W. You can enjoy 2 bacon and eggers for only $6, or 2 sausage and eggers, or you can take one of each, and it's only $6. And hopefully you took advantage of that deal yesterday. $5 on game day, Mamba Burger and fries. Marshall and I last night we went down to have dinner before the game downtown, and probably about 10 minutes away from downtown. Marshall kept asking us, "Where are all the restaurants, Daddy? Where do you know for supper? Where's all the restaurants?" I said, we'll get downtown. Like, come down for a second. So we park, we walk in.
What an EST foodie he is.
Hey?
So much. He should get on the hashtag.
Yeah, so we tried to get into Boston Pizza. There was like 20 people waiting there. And then Deluxe Burger Bar was full. Joey was full. And then right across the street is Amore Pizza. And I could think of this. That's Amore. So we went there for dinner last night. Really good pasta.
Yeah.
Really good pasta.
Kind of, as you said, like a build your own. It's
nice, like a Subway of pastas.
Yeah.
And it was a nice little meal last night. But this kid last night, we're watching, and they do the land recognition earlier this season than they had in the past. So they hit it kind of before they get into the whole pregame show. And Marshall's sitting there and he's watching the land recognition. And he looks at me, he goes, "Daddy, it sure is frustrating me that nobody else is paying attention to this."
Bless his
I was
heart.
like,
Bless
"God,
his heart.
You're such a good kid." He was just like, oh. Like he was just frustrated that nobody stopped and paid attention and watched the land recognition show. Shout out to Marshall.
How many fan zone shouts did we have from him during the game there?
None. He was pretty bagged about midway through the second. Like he's trying to grind it out. Corey Perry put a little bit of cheese on that shot. Not your problem. Thompson couldn't save it. I like Rob from the Grove accusing Connor McDavid of throwing the nachos on the ice last night.
Yeah.
Out of protest because he's only drawn the most penalties in the entire league since he joined the league. Like, it's time to move on here, people. It's time to stop bitching.
See, and that's what I kind of saw the nachos as, a moving on point.
Yeah. Accept the suspension. Realize, yes, he's not drawing penalties this year as often as he has the last 9 years of his career. But since he came into the league, nobody has drawn more penalties than 97. You want more than the most? I mean, let's just move along. He's a terror on the league. Like, it's a bad look outside of this market. Like, other markets are mocking the hell out of this city right now. And it frustrates me as a proud member of this city. Like, we've somehow in this market tried to turn Connor McDavid into the victim. And I think in a moment like this, just suck it up. Let him do his time, even if we do agree that it was probably one game too much, but you can't ever get consistency from the Department of Player Safety.
It's not going to change.
You can't do anything about it. But let's just suck it up and move on. You've got a Stanley Cup contender here. Like, the guy has drawn the most penalties in the league since he stepped on the ice for the very first time. We don't need to be whining and complaining about it. And the organization hopping in and joining in with the most useless press release of all time. We'll get into that a little bit as well. But we got a spicy show today. Hammer the thumbs up. Over at 780-218-9999.
You even haven't had a drip of coffee yet.
No, I haven't had the, but we're going to have a coffee.
We're gonna have coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Easy E says, Dusty Copenhagen, a penalty is a penalty. Call it. Yeah, I agree. A penalty is a penalty. Call it. And nobody has had more of those called due to his ability than 97 since he came in. Like, I don't, yeah. Oh, boy.
Anyways, 3-2 loss last night to down at
Let's get into your morning announcements. Let's stay on track. Morning announcements. Here we go. JCD 780 trying to claim the nacho throw. Says they're overpriced and trash. I mean, they are overpriced for just very generic nachos, right? Like, there's nothing special about Rogers Place nachos.
You want to go up and down the menu?
Well, that's why he's also
sure you were
saying,
there last night.
He's also saying, the KFC in the concourse isn't real KFC. It's like 7-Eleven chicken. Is that true?
It's what it is.
Like,
guys.
it's not the herbs and spices? And that can't be true. I mean, they got to be bringing in KFC chicken if they're promoting KFC chicken.
Do they have to? Does anybody have to do anything?
Kind of think you thought they would.
I would bet that cheese on the nachos isn't even real cheese.
We went hot dog, popcorn, water last night, $28, which I was just like, oh, that's not. I mean, whatever. We plan on spending some money if you're going to go to the game.
Yeah.
But I will say this: the popcorn was good, the hot dog was really good, and that was one of the best bottles of Aquafina water I've ever had in my entire life.
It got you good, yeah. Kept you hydrated.
Yeah. So I avoided the bad menu items, I guess, last night. Elsewhere last night, rest of the National Hockey League, Habs won again.
Yeah, but Vancouver lost.
And think about this: 0 cups, 2 riots.
Okay.
Hey, wow! Like, what a market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, the Habs.
Full NHL story last night. Yeah, Habs 3-2. Rangers blanked the Sens 5-0. Did you see the San Jose Nashville game last night?
That's the one I did not.
It was 5-1 San Jose. They lost 7-5. It was a quick turnaround last night.
Sharks getting a safety.
And the Sabres, that game was tied until late. And Peterka with the winner for the Buffalo Sabres. They were down 2-1 going into the third, rallied a bit there. Rasmus Dahlin with a couple of points in that one. All right, if you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Send in your hilarious nachos texts to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Library Pat, you know what? I'll read this positive text here. I actually thought yesterday's refs did a decent job. Nothing huge missed. This was refreshing to see. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
That's a statement.
And there was these 2 ladies behind me. They must have been in their early 50s. They were done up pretty good.
Okay.
Like they were out for a night.
What is this, a Habs game?
Like you could tell they were, well, they weren't dressed in like fancy, but they put themselves together.
Okay, yeah.
But it was a little annoying last night. Like I must
was your neck getting a little
I must have heard. I hope they were doing a bit.
No,
because I must have heard them say, check him into next week about 40 times last night. Check him into next week.
I get it.
I was like, and then they kept referring to Hyman as Jaime the whole time. Let's go, Jaime. And I was like, oh, you're killing me.
Are you his mom?
You're killing me. Let's go, Jaime. Come on, Jaime. Oh, I don't know if I can handle that on a regular basis. All right, let's get to a sports update right now for Nisku Glass.
Then I'll put the coffee on.
You do coffee
after the update there.
How long does it take for a coffee thing? 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to this. That velvet cream really does the trick.
Oh, it turns it up, baby.
No, I think that'll be pretty good. We're gonna get to an update here for Nisku Glass, and hey, shout out to the Nisku Glass crew for that CFL tampering window because it was a very popular item when we had Mark Killam on the show yesterday. He was like, yes, and also you see CFL yesterday. They tweeted out all the upcoming important dates. Did not reference legal tampering window.
Well,
I was slightly disappointed.
See, but is that not the point of the tampering window? That it's not like an official, like that is kind of the, because it's.
Yeah, but if you go look, it actually says February 2nd to February 9th, legal
tampering
It says
window.
legal tampering window. Like,
I'm not dealing with the legal one. I'm dealing with the illegal one.
No, but it's the legal one. That's hilarious because everybody signs before free agency starts.
Yeah, but there's the tampering window prior to the legal tampering window, I thought, and then free agency.
I've always just reviewed it as the legal tampering window.
No,
is what we're talking about.
it's on now. It's on all the time.
Wait, we're in the illegal tampering window right now.
You've been in it the whole time.
I need a coffee. Let's get to a sports update. We got the morning after show on the other way and the fan zone still to come as well here in the 6 o'clock hour. If you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us, and you can text us anytime. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999.
Logan Thompson, 30 saves as the league-leading Capitals would hold on to defeat the Oilers 3-2 down at Rogers Place. Leon Draisaitl recording his league-best 33rd goal of the season, plus an assist on the night, while Alex Ovechkin was held off the score sheet. The Oilers are back in action tomorrow, Game 2 of the 6-game homestand, when they welcome in the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks losing on home ice last night, 3-2 the Sabres. Elsewhere, Jesper Kotkaniemi scoring twice, leading the Hurricanes over the Stars 2-1. Rangers shutting out the Sens 5-0, and the Habs would rally past the Lightning 3-2. 4 games on tonight's schedule. The Kings are at home to the Panthers. Colorado host Winnipeg. Columbus visit Toronto. And the Devils are at home to Boston. Toronto Raptors clawing back from a 21-point deficit. They'd knock off the lowly Magic 109-93. Scotty Barnes 19 points and 11 boards. 9 games dot the NBA schedule later tonight. And over to TGL Golf, Atlanta Drive Golf Club. Patrick Cantlay, Billy Horschel, and Justin Thomas pick up that team's first ever win, defeating New York Golf Club 4-0. Action will resume Monday when 0-1 Jupiter Links takes on Boston Common. Sports Update brought to you by Nisku Glass. We want to thank EST and all the listeners and viewers, and what better way than to give them a deal. Mention Edmonton Sports Talk or present your Nasty Club membership for a 10% discount on windshields, glass, or any of your window and door orders. Call us today to get that ugly broken windshield replaced or to start planning your winter and spring renovation projects now.
Very impressive. Taken a few years to put all this together.
It's not a one-year quest because it's so hard to get your hands on. At this stage of my life, I don't invest in green bananas. It's a lifetime quest. Just not sure if I'm going to be around long enough to see them ripen to be yellow. You can't party enough when you win that thing. It's a party machine. Party machine.
Girl, I can't understand it. Why you wanna hurt me?
That's why it's the Stanley Cup.
After all of the things I've done for you.
It's hard. It's hard.
I buy you champagne and roses, put diamonds on your finger. Still you hang out all night. What am I to do? My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
It's too catchy. I totally forgot we were coming back. We need more of Party All the Time. It's just that simple. I mean, that is a banger. If that doesn't get you going in the 6 o'clock hour on a Wednesday morning, I honestly don't know if we can help you in any other way. The Nielson Show is brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet, www.southfortchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot. 90-day payment deferrals here in the month of January, or up to $10K cash back to help you pay off the holidays and whatever else you've got built up over 2024. They've got the 2025 tracks on right now, $148 bi-weekly for a brand new vehicle. That's $148 bi-weekly for 2025 tracks. And look, they've got a bunch of other great deals out there as well. I could sit here for 3 hours and list off the deals of South Fort Chevrolet, but alas, we have a show to get to. But www.southfortchev.com. And we're coming at you today from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio, where the crew over at Popeyes loaded me up with some gift certificates on Uber Eats.
Hey.
And for the oil stream today, we're going to be ordering in some Popeyes for lunch for the staff.
Got anything eye on the menu?
I don't know. Like, what do I do for like a staff order? I want to get some of those value menu items to take those for a run. But chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
like classic chicken sandwiches, I think.
Great sides.
A few
there.
sides.
Those
a few
sides. The mashed potatoes gravy.
We don't want to fill everybody up, so all afternoon, like the afternoon shows, just want to have a nap because they had so much Popeyes.
You got to be
for lunch,
running
but-
lean a bit. Yeah. Just a little nibble here.
Did you put the coffee on?
Coffee's on.
Coffee's on.
Yeah. Did I hear correctly from the kitchen? I missed party all the time.
You did miss part of the story, man. Yeah.
Maybe we could have it played again. Maybe a little later in
Maybe.
the program.
I mean, we can play that all day if you want.
request.
Colby says, I will never be able to accept that Eddie Murphy sings that banger. He does, doesn't he?
I've got a nacho song text here from.
Oh, God. Atif gave us a nacho song. I'm almost in the mood to play it today.
Huh?
Oh, God. Do you have it?
I have it.
Do we want to? Do we do this?
Let's let it sit on the maybe till you have a coffee or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? When we get our coffees,
You can enjoy
we'll have our coffee and we'll play it.
Sure.
We'll play Atif's nacho song, which I'm sure is an absolute train wreck.
Oh,
But maybe we'll get to that today. A little bit of a pick me up for everybody, hey?
that's what the nacho exercise was. Changed the mood. Got people joking around online after all the toxicity over the past couple of days.
If you're watching over on YouTube, 6 away from changing 100, hammer that. Let's dive into the morning after show today after the Oilers. Look, they played well. I thought Adam Anderson laid it out nicely over in the Nasty Chat earlier. I didn't get to it, but Adam, I saw it. They played well last night. Skinner let in one bad goal. Thompson was excellent. And the Oilers, couldn't get anything really going on the power play. Like Thompson had to be better at even strength than he had to be on the power play last night. I think that says something.
Yeah.
About the man advantage. Adam over here in the Nasty Chat on YouTube says they lost to Czech's Notes, the first place team in the league, by 1 goal without one of their top 2 players. Not concerned about last night's loss at all. Neither am I. I don't want to speak for both of us.
You should put that out in a statement.
Yeah, you should.
That sums it up.
Being a fan of the Oilers today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to have your say? It's the morning after show where we will talk about the game and let you know who you should blame. You want a show where you will know if the problems are still the same. You want a show every morning after the game. You want a show so people know if the problems are still the same. You want a show every morning after the game.
Changing 100.
Perfect timing. We're on point today. We are on point today. Late night for a few of us, but we're getting in the groove now. It's even just the thought of a velvet cream in the coffee.
You haven't had a sip yet.
Yeah. If you're watching over on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us. We appreciate that. Sub to the channel as we make our push to 11.2. That's the next step towards 12,000 as well. Colton says, guys, there's one more thumb up from iHeart to YouTube. Look at this guy sliding on over. Very easy transition. And if you are on iHeart or, if let's say you're watching YouTube and you're like, that's just too much work. It's not really. I mean, most vehicles today either automatically connect to your phone via Bluetooth, or you just plug in and 2 clicks on iHeart and you can listen to the show.
The future is now.
You know what? The future is now, but the future, like I think in 5 years, this will just be the way people consume all of their radio content.
And you're
maybe
an
not
expert
5 years,
on
not for all
time
stations,
travel,
but lots of stations,
right? Like what you're,
especially sports talk stations.
That's your forte.
It's true, Eric. I am a radio robot sent back from the year 2050 to transition people online. That's what it is.
They don't even call them radio robots in 2050.
No,
the phrase is obsolete.
It's
they don't
not
even know
a
what you're
thing.
talking about.
I'm just a person. I missed this text from The Apprentice because it came in at 4:44 this morning. And this is a classic example of we need to move on from this conversation about the Garland McDavid tie-up and the suspension. Not sure if it's been brought up, but during the last minute of play, a penalty shouldn't require puck possession. The ref should be able to blow the play dead to combat ratty Garland-style play. So think about what The Apprentice is saying here. No matter where the penalty is on the ice, whether the opposition has the puck or not, they'll blow it down. So Connor McDavid has a breakaway. And somebody's like, oh, well, we need to get a whistle. So you two-hand somebody way behind the play, and you want that blown down immediately. Like, what you know, like now we're getting to silly season on this stuff. You want to change the way the game is called. Literally, not just call penalties that are penalties, but when you can call penalties. Because of one missed penalty. This is the whole offside rule again. You miss one Matt Duchene offside, and they change offsides forever, and it sucks. This is what that would be. So no matter what, if you have the puck or not, if the ref sees a penalty on the ice, the apprentice is like, blow it down. So the Oilers are buzzing. You see a penalty on the ice, and now they have to reset and drop the puck. Hey, we need to move past this and just get back to your regular programming because and the apprentice texts in a lot. He's great, but now we're getting into everybody's going nuts. Like that's kind of where we're at right now at this point. What was the other text you said? Kid Thunder. I can't see it. Do you have Kid Thunder's text? Oh, here it is.
A statement on the nacho thrower.
Oh, good.
Disappointed in himself and shares his frustration, the lack of nachos in his belly. Looks forward to everyone's support through this process and looks forward to also having new nachos back in his belly versus Seattle next week.
That's good stuff.
Well done there.
That's good stuff, Kid
Take
Thunder.
the statement implemented. You know, it's one of those, it's like when they give you the free pass for playoffs. You know, excuse me from work today. I think you could take that statement that they put out, change a few words, and use it in your day-to-day. Sorry, I'm late. Here's my statement.
The nacho thrower is disappointed in himself and shares his frustration in the lack of nachos in his belly.
Like they go find him last night. They're dragging him out. Wait. I have a statement.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize this. It really doesn't say much. Nobody explains my thought process. He looks forward to everyone's support through this process and looks forward to having new nachos back in his belly for Seattle. That's good, Kid Thunder. That's really nice. Could be text of the day for A&W. All right, let's get into the morning after show. Trev, feel free to chime in on a few of these bad boys as well. The big moment that happened in that hockey game last night. What are you going with, buddy?
The McDavid suspension, because that ultimately is kind of, it's the difference. Like, I mean, the moment 6-on-4 with the final 2 minutes not being able to score, I guess that would lead to the moment, which is probably good for you having young Marshall there too, and a little extra hockey, which usually is celebrated, but you would have had to stay, probably a little longer in that case. And
then he would have been on the edge of, like, he was so tired by the end of the game that if Ovi's team lost in overtime, he probably would have cried.
Yeah.
Like he was just bagged.
Tight game, and again, I think the difference really doesn't happen during the game. It's you insert McDavid into there, and it's probably a different story. But yeah, I'll go with the 6-on-4 late, goalie pulled, and again, McDavid leading that power play. Maybe it's funny that Thompson, busier with even strength than when the Oilers did have the man advantage. But yeah, the final power play not being able to get over the line and tie things up, and at least take it extra time.
I'll go. A tight game. I was going to go third goal to give them a little bit of cushion that they obviously needed with the Oilers getting the Perry goal to make it a 1-goal game again. But I think I'm going to go with the second goal. Skinner has to stop that one. And I know he was really taking it hard on the postgame show last night. Like, people were obviously all over him, blaming the entire loss on him. But like that one has to be stopped. And in a tight game like that, 3-2. And I like the other two goals, I'm not blaming him on. But the second one, like Logan Thompson stops that. At least in last night's game, Logan Thompson makes that save. Skinner didn't. I'm going to say that is the big moment that happened in the hockey game last night. What is your super stat of the night, Rick?
Yeah, courtesy a natural stat trick here. Let's just
I like
read
you
over
becoming natural stat trick guy.
Well, these are the games, and these are the nights you looked at them, right? Scoring chances, 34-15 for the Oilers. High danger, 18-8 for the Oilers. Expected goals, 4.7 to 1.6.
They should have won by 3.
For your Edmonton Oilers.
Wow.
74.6% on the expected goals front. Look, the metrics are suggesting one thing. The game went the other way. I know that they outshot them. What was the official tally here? Was it 32-14? Like a lot of those, whatever. Washington making the most of their shots. And again, as you mentioned, Skinner maybe would like that one back or maybe 2. But Yeah, I'll go with those stats there, and especially looking at the XG, which could have been. I know a lot of people love playing the winnow-meter these days, and I think the Oilers were, 80% in that?
Over 80% on the deserve to winnow-meter.
Okay, so, I mean, look, if you want to brighten your day and get a little positive look at those metrics. Other super stats, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at last night. Leon Draisaitl is well with the goal, I think. League leading 33rd. I've said this week is a bit of an opportunistic time for him, much like during the McDavid injury earlier in the season, to kind of pad those numbers and, hey, make the case saying, yeah, I do play with Connor McDavid, but hey, there were 2 stretches this season where he was not around, and look what I did numbers-wise. So good for him getting that goal, 33rd. And Ovechkin, I mean, again, for people in attendance, much like your son Marshall, and I'm sure a few others, wanting an OV goal, and maybe it was the curse of him touching Gretzky's gear earlier in the week. Hey, maybe that's what prevented him from doing that. But,
maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I was looking at the analytics last night.
You know, the one thing that jumps up off the page to me for the Capitals, you look at some of these better teams around, and the Oilers are the example. I mean, they are. I don't mind the depth of their lineup. I think there's some room for small levels of improvement there. But let's make no mistake about it, they are top heavy. I mean, their top guys are going to play well over 20 minutes a night up front. Like last night, Nuge was over 20, Draisaitl's over 20, McDavid's always over 20. The Washington Capitals doing it a little bit differently. Last night, nobody on the Washington Capitals forward group played more than 18-28. You know who led the Caps forward group in ice time last night? Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson played the most last night for the Washington Capitals. It was 18-28. Everybody besides that is somewhere between 10 and 14, 16 minutes.
I love him
like
as a player.
They roll him.
Yeah. But he is constantly like a dog on the like, you know?
He is. Like,
yeah, like it's
Tom Wilson is the perfect example
20
of
goals again.
Guy you want on your team. You know, like guy that you don't necessarily love. He's done a bunch of stupid things in his career. I get it. But my God.
But can play.
Can you imagine Tom Wilson on the Oilers' second line with Leon Draisaitl? And then you just leave Hyman with McDavid. Can you imagine that guy there? He's always around it. Like he's around it.
He's intense. And can put up a throwback, but not totally 100%.
That would be
a modern day throwback.
That's what they were hoping they were getting when they signed Lucic, right? You were hoping you were getting a Tom Wilson type or a early 20s Lucic type, and it just it did not pan out. But yeah, Wilson, man, he's he would be. You see these guys who like. There's not many of them because the Oilers are a well constructed roster. But you see the odd guy around the league, and you're like, that's the fit. That's one of the true final pieces.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the stuff we've talked about, whether you buy into the theories or not on, if they're tougher, Garland doesn't jump on McDavid, and I totally disagree with that moment. But the whole, McDavid having to go through more, it's different. If you had Matt Rempe, I don't think it changes a thing. But Tom Wilson riding shotgun with one of those two guys might make things a little bit differently. I did disagree with the 3 stars last night. They have Draisaitl first star, Thompson second star, Nurse third star.
Home ice bump.
That's a home ice bump. Like Draisaitl was the best Oiler last night. I thought he was terrific.
Yeah, but
I don't want to take anything away from him. But Logan Thompson was the first star of that hockey game.
You're just flipping those two.
I'm just flipping those two. Like Logan Thompson was the first star of the hockey game last night. Draisaitl was undoubtedly the best Oiler on the ice last night. But Washington won that game because of Logan Thompson. So I would have had Logan Thompson first star. Who's your 4th star of the game?
Well, I got 3 here. Tom Wilson I had as one of them. Because, again, just his energy. And again, picking up a goal. I think that's 20 on the season. Now for him, multiple 20-goal campaigns. I can't remember the exact number there. But Pierre-Luc Dubois as well. We've talked about him and rediscovering himself since being acquired by the Capitals. He had a goal and an assist. And, of course, the Nachos, who I do believe found their way on the score sheet.
You're mixing those in there.
Well, you got to. It's the talk of the town, baby. Again, it just kind of, I know it's a loss, but it felt like it could have been one of those moments where it turned the tide, so to speak, right? It happens on a goal. If they were to go on to win that game, I mean, boy, we'd be parading those Nachos through. I mean, Jasper Avenue would be blocked off this morning.
The Oilers might even put them on sale.
Find a parade route. You should.
for a bit.
Perry nachos.
Special Corey's nachos thing. Yeah. 38th star of the game last night. That second goal, you'd like to see Skinner stop that one. He allowed 3 goals on 14 shots. I don't necessarily blame him directly on the other 2 on 1. The one goes off the post, bounces back out. Nobody on the Oilers is paying attention. Wide open net, bang it home. But I'm not sure what Bouchard did last night. Like, he was in that net front on that second goal, literally wanted nothing to do with the battle there. Couple of giveaways.
He was getting roasted in the nasty chat earlier this morning.
But got to the point where they started their power play at the beginning of the third period without him on it. Right? I think that goes to show, like, if anybody's questioning my, Dusty, you're way too hard on Bouchard take this morning. The coach took him off the top unit power play to start the third period in last night's hockey game.
As a tie into that, John Klingberg was also interviewed during one of the intermissions last night. Spoke really well, discussed his hip resurfacing and how that all went. Same procedure that Patrick Kane had.
Yeah.
Says he feels great. His demeanor is
double
bright
hip
and positive.
resurfacing.
He looks engaged.
Missing those teeth too. He's a hockey player, that guy.
I'm telling you, Bouchard's
but actually you'll love this. Somebody did text in today and say,
yeah.
When Klingberg's ready to go, I'd probably sit Bouchard for a few games. And look, I haven't necessarily loved his play this year, but come on now. Where you're gonna healthy scratch Bouchard to get a guy who hasn't played in 18 months, 15 months, more ice time early when he's coming back. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, that is your morning after show as the Oilers play well. They played well last night, but they lost to the Washington Capitals, one of, if not the best teams in the league, by a score of 3-2. Let's dive into the fan zone for fansfirst.ca. By fans, for fans, no fees. Get your tickets for the Oilers' upcoming cup run. Don't mind if I do, at www.fansfirst.ca. And shout out to the guy who was also at the game last night. Was it Papa Bear? Was it Papa Bear? He said he saved $40 on the fans on Fans First yesterday. Gotta love it. We're telling you, man, it's the best way to get your tickets. The best and most affordable way to get into games. www.fansfirst.ca. All right, here's where I want to go for Fans First today. It was, I don't know. Nobody was asking for it, I don't think. And it kind of came out of nowhere yesterday. So I just want to have a brief discussion about this statement that was released by the Edmonton Oilers yesterday.
Okay.
And what was the driver behind it? Like, you don't see many teams. Somebody did tweet at me yesterday. Remember when the Rangers put out a press release saying that they were mad that Tom Wilson?
It's happened before.
It was against some, like it was, but I don't see many teams ever put out a press release about their guy being suspended with just generic comment. Like,
there's no call to action here.
Yeah, like usually you would be like, we want the NHL to do, and then you but the Oilers, like you see them tweet out yesterday, the Edmonton Oilers have released a statement. I'm like, oh, this is going to be juicy.
And I thought it'd be a multi-paragraph type of,
this is going to be really juicy. Instead, it just states the obvious. Like, the Oilers organization is disappointed.
Okay, stop there.
Okay.
They're disappointed.
I'm a little surprised.
I would also be disappointed if our, that's, yeah, sure.
The Oilers organization is disappointed, and we share in our fans' frustration over the 3-game suspension of our captain, Connor McDavid. We support him through this process, and the organization and our fans look forward to having him back in the lineup versus Seattle next week. Like, to me, and you see it, I mean, go look online. Other teams' fan bases are having a heyday with this. And I don't know, like, everybody knows that you support Connor McDavid, and whatever his process is of having a few days off for cross-checking somebody in the face, of course she goes, what do you, like, is anybody sitting there going, man, I wonder if the Oilers actually support McDavid through this? I just don't understand why this was necessary when you know that it's going to open you up to kind of be mocked around the league. So I guess my question on the fan zone today is, why did they do this?
I'll hit you with this one.
What's the reason behind it? There's got to be a reason behind it that we're missing.
Just crossed my mind. And if you look at everything that kind of transpired after the suspension announcement, it was hot. A lot of people were, throwing around takes. A lot of people with high respectability in this market were throwing out some quite hot takes.
Yeah.
There were podcasts saying he might turn in his passport.
Yeah, he might
never played for Canada. Like all of these things.
He might not do NHL events anymore.
So all that going on, perhaps the Oilers are just saying, whoa, this is getting a little hot here. We're going to have to put a line in the sand where we stand. And in this statement, it doesn't say, any of this saber rattling that, he might not play for it. It's just them calmly saying, we're disappointed. We share in the frustration. We look forward to having him back, period. Maybe that's
exactly what we thought they would be thinking, right?
Yes, but I think they're showing from an organizational viewpoint that they aren't as hot as maybe some other people in this market are, and they're communicating that to the league, saying, hey, this is what it is. We support him. We share in the frustration. We welcome him back. But they're not going down the path of entertaining him, not playing for Canada and not doing anything for the NHL and not doing his media around. All that stuff that was kind of floated out there in the ether. Maybe that's just upon reading this again, that just kind of crossed my mind that maybe they're just putting it out there, saying, "Hey, all of this stuff's going on. It's very hot right now. We get it, but this is what it is. We support him. We can't wait till he's back." Nothing more, nothing less.
I just think every single team in the history of teams have been disappointed when one of their players got suspended and will be excited having him back.
Right, but there hasn't really been talk of this in like an international tournament and not signing autographs and doing all this stuff.
But none of that talk's coming from anybody legitimate.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know, but they're putting it out there to quash that and squash any idea that it could come from them. I'm just
I know you're trying to look at theories. Yeah. Kootenai Time Tim is in. It says, morning, fellas. I know I'm late to it, but that statement from the Oilers last night was a little embarrassing. Why didn't they just appeal the suspension? Seems that would have made more sense instead of a public statement like this.
Because they don't want to appeal it. They clearly are fine with it, I guess. Otherwise they would appeal.
You know what I will say about all of this stuff? I thought Leon Draisaitl handled himself perfectly. When he had to talk about this yesterday, he was asked about it. I thought he handled it tremendously. I thought he said everything that he needed to say, didn't cross a line that's going to have the NHL being like, "Well, you can't say that about us." I thought that was a really mature moment from a leader, and he kind of said what needed to be said, but didn't go too far. So kudos to Leon, who nailed it.
Who has in the past gone a little far with the mic in front of him. So that's a good growth moment.
I thought he crushed it yesterday.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty good. All right, your thoughts on this? 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Baggio says, I think I see Lieutenant Eric's point. Maybe it's just their way of saying, done.
Let's just, and to distance themselves from all the firebrand type of takes out there.
Maybe they need to reach out to some people and say, hey, enough's enough then.
I mean, exactly.
You get your own chickens in a row here and go from there. All right, Craig Button's going to join us at some time between 7 and 7:30. That's where we're going to get Craig. He's doing some TSN stuff this morning, but he's still going to find the time for us, which is awesome. It's a conch for everybody in the 6 o'clock hour. Thank you very much for being here today. I love this one from Shane Clausen.
Yeah.
Wait, is that Shane?
Oh, yeah. What's going on, Shane? Shane in Saskatoon. Yeah.
Shane, what's up, buddy? You used to work with us. I'm glad the Oilers stand with McDavid and the Canucks don't stand with Myers.
It's a hell of a take.
That is a good take, man. All right. Fun 6 o'clock hour. If you're watching over on YouTube today, let's hammer the thumbs up for us. I know everybody's down in the dumps, but think about this. Like you should, I think you should be relatively encouraged by that hockey game last night. They drastically outplayed who many people view as the best team in the league without Connor McDavid. Like last night might not have been 2 points, but I think last night was an okay step for this team. I honestly do. We'll get into all of it with Craig Button. Let's get to a sports update right now with Lieutenant Eric.
Coffee's on,
Coffee's
boys.
on.
You get in there.
I'm going to find that velvet cream. That's what I'm going to do.
You betcha. Logan Thompson making 30 saves. The Capitals holding on to defeat the Oilers 3-2 down at Rogers Place, kicking off a 6-game homestand for Edmonton that'll continue tomorrow against the Vancouver Canucks. Leon Draisaitl recording his league-best 33rd goal of the season in the loss, plus adding an assist, while Alex Ovechkin was held off the score sheet. Canucks last night falling at home to the Sabres 3-2. Habs, they remain red hot. They rallied past the Lightning 3-2. Rangers shutting out Ottawa 5-zip. Jesper Kotkaniemi scoring twice, leading the Hurricanes over Dallas 2-1. 4 games dotting the NHL schedule tonight. The Kings are at home to the Panthers. Winnipeg travel to Colorado. The Blue Jackets are in Toronto to take on the Leafs, while the Devils entertain the Bruins. Over to the NBA, where the Raptors clawed back from a 21-point deficit. Scotty Barnes, 19 points and 11 boards as they would defeat the Magic 109-93. 9 games around the NBA later tonight. Over to TGL Golf, Atlanta Drive Golf Club. Patrick Cantlay, Billy Horschel, and Justin Thomas picking up their first ever win, defeating New York 4-0. That being Matt Fitzpatrick, Ricky Fowler, and Cameron Young. Action will resume Monday when 0-1 Jupiter Links takes on Boston Common Golf. Coming up in hour 2, TSN's Craig Button will be by. That hurts for James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. Coolbet Canada Hotline of the Day, free advice, and legal analyst Erica Macramalla here on The Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
We built this Smitty. We built this Smitty on greasy eagles. Built this Smitty. We built this Smitty on greasy eagles. Everybody knows him, best mullet in the league. You probably know that he never gets fatigued. Face first in the corner, scoring every night. So many young kids, Smitty's in the spotlight. He may not be a captain, but Smitty sure plays a role. So just remember, we built this Smitty. We built this Smitty on greasy gold. We built this Smitty. We built this Smitty on greasy gold. Built this Smitty. We built this Smitty on greasy gold.
7:05 on the Nielson Show. Thank you very much for being here. Edmonton Oilers coming off that loss to a pretty good Washington Capitals team last night. We'll continue to get into that. The coffee's on.
Yeah.
It's a late night last night. I don't drink coffee usually, ever. But we got this velvet cream from Strathcona that's still kicking around. So
That's how the coffee's delivered into you, via the velvet cream. That's the vassal that gets you.
Did you put in as much velvet cream as I did?
Pretty much. I think we're kind of on the same.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty tasty. So this is supposed to give me energy now.
Well, that makes you alert, yeah. What
Okay.
did I say to you, though, in the kitchen, though? You take a sip and you...
Oh yeah, yeah. Me with the velvet cream coffee in me.
Makes my day.
Reed Wilkins, legendary. Man, they're doing clips on their show now too. They've got a couple good ones. They got me singing "Play More Tables and Games."
Oh, do they?
When they do their game of the night.
I like
it's pretty
it.
fun. It's a great show, man. If you have not yet checked out the Reed Wilkins show from 3 to 6 every day, I'm telling you, if you listen to Reed Wilkins show once, you'll tune in every day. It's just, you're like, Dusty, I don't, try it. I swear to God, that'll happen. All right, we got a jam-packed second hour coming up. Craig Button's busy. He's working through a bunch of different things this morning, but he's still trying to find time for your boys, which we do appreciate. The Nielsen Show is brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot. Go see Daniel's team out at South Fort Chev. Our Hockey Insider today, Craig Button, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. Have Pro-Am custom frame that jersey you have in the closet or the photo you've still got sitting in that box. Visit them in store today to get started on your project. Located in Edmonton at the corner of St. Albert Trail on 128th Ave, online at proamsports.ca. And I will say you will not be disappointed on the framing projects that they can put together for you over there. All right, let's bring in Craig Button this morning. Oh, look at Craig.
He's got a cup.
He's also drinking coffee this morning. Craig, what do you do? Do you have any velvet cream liqueur in your coffee today?
Bailey's.
That works. That works. You always do Bailey's when you're recording for TSN as well, right? Like you have to have it.
Oh yeah, hey, I got to tell you a funny story. So years ago, working in Minnesota, the general manager's assistant, Jack Ferrer was the manager, and he came down. He put down his coffee cup. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning, and he picked up the executive assistant's coffee cup. It was laced. Needless to say, that was the last day on the job for that executive assistant.
Surprise! That's not a great idea. Craig Button with us today. Craig, we got to get to this Oilers and Washington Capitals game last night, and it was the Oilers played well. They heavily outshot them. They very well could have won that hockey game. They didn't have Connor McDavid. It became very apparent on the power play. And, what's this window like for them without McDavid? What can you learn about this team as a group of guys? What are you trying to prove to either, people outside of the team or within the team themselves? What can you do? What can you accomplish over this 3-game stretch without your captain?
I like the way you frame that. Like, what can you prove? And I think it's more within the team. So, you're going to be given more ice time. You're going to be given different opportunities in Connor McDavid's absence. And so how do you take advantage of those? Like, what can you show Chris Knoblauch? The opportunity to put players in different spots and give them more responsibility, challenges can be a little bit greater. When the playoffs begin, you're going to be confronted with different scenarios over the course of time. And when a coach can have confidence in knowing what a player can do and how he can handle a certain situation, now that means that you can meet those challenges in a better way. So for Chris Knoblauch, I think it's a real good opportunity for him to evaluate players in different spots. And to your point, for the players to show, hey, listen, I can handle a little bit more. And, there's going to be times, okay, do you want to ease the workload on your top players? You can also find that opportunity once Connor McDavid comes back by seeing what some players do. It's a 3-game sample size, but I think it does afford opportunity for players to show that they can handle a little bit more, and for Chris Knoblauch to gain a little bit of confidence in what they can handle.
Craig, what have you thought? Because we haven't talked about you since this entire incident went down. What have you thought of the play itself, the suspension, the conversation that has come out of it about, well, if the refs did their job better around the league, this wouldn't happen, and then the 3-game ban that both McDavid and Myers got?
Well, why don't I start from the back end, okay? So, the bottom line is I think that the actions of McDavid and Myers totally warranted and merited at least a 2-game suspension. I said it would shock me if they didn't get suspended 2 games at least, and it wouldn't surprise me if they got more. They got more. The Department of Player Safety has been raising that bar. And let's just keep this clearly in mind. It's about the act. It's not about the Department of Player Safety looks at the act. And to me, the act warranted it. Now, we can go back to the play, and you're in a competitive situation and everything's going on. People want to blame the referees. Let's just say the referees were going to call a penalty on that play. Edmonton had the puck. The play was never going to be stopped. Edmonton had the puck until Vancouver touched the puck. There wasn't going to be a whistle in the play. So are we suggesting that maybe that wouldn't have happened if the referee had his arm up in the air? Because the play was not going to be stopped. Yeah. Edmonton had the puck. So I think blaming the referees is wrong. I think there's no justification, no license for Connor McDavid, and it seems to me that the way the game has been officiated and our officials perfect. No, neither are players, and there's going to be mistakes being made. The bottom line is the game is tight. The game has been called tightly, and this idea that Connor McDavid puts up with abuse, I don't buy it. He has the puck as much as anybody in the league, and very few players. So he's going to have a lot of attention to him. But I think the referees do an excellent job of calling it. And this idea that he takes unwarranted abuse, based on my observations, and I see the Edmonton Oilers play lots, I don't see it that way. And I think that there's been a lot of apologists for an act that was very egregious.
Yeah, it's interesting because at least in this market, and I understand why in this, but it's almost it's almost been flipped that McDavid's kind of the victim here of poor officiating in the National Hockey League. And I think we're missing the point of everything that went down. And I know he hasn't been drawing penalties as often this year as he has in the past, but since he came into the league, no player has drawn more penalties than Connor McDavid, right? Like, and part of it is because he has the puck so much, but I don't know. It's been a very interesting conversation that's come here. Now, with that being said,
can I just say something to your point too? And like the power play for the Edmonton Oilers is lethal. So what do you think that the opposing coach says before every game? Don't take penalties. One of the things I've noticed about how teams defend against the Oilers now is when McDavid gets outside the dots, they just let him stay outside the dots now. They're saying you can stay outside the center, but when you start to attack, and Connor does attack into the middle of the ice, I mean, there's no question about it, but they're not chasing him down along the wall. They're not chasing him down into the corners like they did before. And they're not going to take penalties because the Edmonton Oilers power play is lethal. It started out a little bit tough at the beginning of the year, but it's back to that level where it's dangerous. So, this idea that, the referees aren't calling penalties and we can look at the penalty data. I think Edmonton last year was 24th in drawing penalties. I think they're 27th this year at this point in time. So, like, is there a big drop-off there? Teams are not dumb enough to take penalties against the Edmonton Oilers, and I think that's a big factor.
TSN's Craig Button with us on the Nielson Show this morning. Craig, I just wanted your thoughts on the opposition last night. And, I think you can make a case for a handful of teams around the league who is the best right now. They do lead in terms of points, and so it might be an obvious answer. But do you see them going the full way? I mean, we saw Logan Thompson last night and last week, Alex Ovechkin on that goal-scoring tear. But, I think you talk to people preseason, and they wouldn't necessarily have Washington at these heights. So are they, in your mind, the best team, and will they continue, do you see, to be that throughout the run here?
Amongst the best, Eric, I would say. I mean, last night, I thought the Oilers played excellent last night.
They did.
Logan Thompson was excellent. I thought the Edmonton Oilers really carried a lot of play. They kept a very good team, kind of forced them to defend a lot. And if it wasn't for Logan Thompson, I think that the Edmonton Oilers would have won that game. But goaltending is important. It's a really well-balanced team, Eric. Mm-hmm. They made the big trade in the offseason getting Dubois. Dubois fit in very nicely. Ovechkin was on a tear last year. Dylan Strome is a nice center for him, but they've had the trade for Chychrun. Chychrun's played excellent. They've had an emergence of young players. Connor McMichael, Alexi Protas have come in and not just been players. They have been impact players in their lineup. And if you're going to take those steps and you're going to be a contender, you got a good group of players. I mean, John Carlson, now some of the burden's taken off of him. Yep. Goaltending's good. You're looking at a team that's getting a lot of really good, productive play throughout their lineup. They're well balanced. And when you watch them play, I think that they're a team that needs to be reckoned with. We talk about the beginning of the season. They remind me a lot, like in terms of the narrative around them, of how we talked about the Vegas Golden Knights in 2017-18. All the Golden Knights kept doing was showing us that they were good. And are they that good? Do we really believe in them? Like, they're an expansion team. Come on, can they really be that good? I feel the same type of narrative is surrounding the Washington Capitals. And I guess what I would say, Eric, is, yeah, they're that good.
It's interesting because I think management deserves a ton of credit. Like, nobody, it didn't look like anybody was going to touch Pierre-Luc Dubois. After what happened, you're just like, oh man, this guy, there's nothing left there. And then the Chychrun trade was brilliant in my opinion. And it's funny because, Washington and Pittsburgh with the McDavid or the Ovechkin and Crosby eras, they get their titles, and Pittsburgh has gone down and haven't been able to find a way to get back up, and it looked like Washington was trending there as well, Craig. And the fact that they were able to, salvage maybe one or two more runs here with Ovechkin is pretty damn impressive. Like that's some savvy GMing right there.
Well, it is, and let's look at the differences between the two. The Pittsburgh Penguins traded picks, traded prospects, and we all understood that. We get all why that is. The Washington Capitals didn't do that. And so when I talk about Alexi Protas and I talk about Connor McMichael, I mean, these are draft picks. They got Ryan Leonard coming. the MVP of the World Junior Tournament. He's going to step right in their lineup. They have so many good players in their prospect pool, and the Pittsburgh Penguins didn't have that because they don't have the picks, and then they traded their prospects. I get it, but the Washington Capitals, to your point, Dustin, have managed it in a much different way, and now what you see is this little dip, and now they're coming up again. And Ovechkin, it's not all left to Ovechkin. Keep in mind, they lost Kuznetsov and they lost Backstrom.
Yeah.
And they've replaced them. And to your point, to your question earlier, Pierre-Luc Dubois had to prove to others and to himself, wait a sec, I'm better than what I've shown. And he's gone and done exactly that in Washington.
As always, Craig, we appreciate the time a little bit more today because it's a different day, and I know you're busy with TSN right now. I do like the fact that you should wear a tie like this every single time you're on the show with us, though. Hey, let's do that.
Well, that's okay. That is coffee cup with Bailey's and a tie. You can count on it every single time. I will tell everybody, watch the Bob McKenzie draft midseason draft ranking show. Matt Schaefer is on it, and he's being interviewed. Like, when I tell you it is fantastic, I'm underselling it.
The interview?
Yeah.
Pretty composed young man, isn't he?
It is. I've never seen a prospect interview better than that.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that then. Do we know when's that airing, Craig?
11:30 a.m. Eastern time. That would be 9:30 in the Mountain Time zone, and 8:30 for our listeners and viewers in British Columbia.
Great stuff, Craig. We'll chat next week. There you go. That is Craig Button. What a beauty. And it's funny when he brings that up because back way before, well, not way before, but a few years before, I used to do hockey prospects. It was essentially a podcast before podcasts kind of blew up. It was like, we called it HF Radio, and I was working in Lethbridge, and it was for hockeysfuture.com. And I would put together like a 30 to 60 minute weekly audio show.
Pre-taped,
and then I pieced it together. And this was like in 2004, 2005, 2006, like in that window. It got me to a couple of drafts before I started working in Edmonton and stuff. It was great. But the two interviews I did, and I would it was funny because I was only like 24 years old, and these like 18-year-olds would call me and they'd be like, "Is Mr. Nielson there?" I'm like, "Buddy, you don't have to call me Mr. Like, I'm slightly older than you are." But there's two. It's funny because he brings up the Matthew Schaefer interview. There's two interviews I remember doing with prospects when they were like 17 before they got drafted that just blew me away. Like, they were just tremendous chats with kids. Like, with kids. One of them was Jonathan Taves. Like, it blew me away how well spoken and how well thought out his answers were when he was 17 years old. And the other one, which was, Taves was here. Most guys are like down here when they're 16, 17. You can't blame them. Like, they haven't gone through it yet. It's like a bunch of Kessels and McDavids when they're 15, 16. Like, there's not much. You're not getting much out of them, right? Yeah. Like, Taves was up here compared to them. And then Gabriel Landeskog was like up here. Landeskog, it sounded like I was interviewing a 40-year-old businessman. I remember wrapping up. I was sitting in the crappy little newsroom at Country 95.5 in Lethbridge. And I turned around to one of my coworkers and said, "You will not believe this Gabriel Landeskog kid. Like, listen back to this." And they're like, "Oh my goodness." So Landeskog and Taves, I got to watch this Schaefer thing tonight.
Stockholm, Sweden. Landeskog is probably drinking coffee at like age 8.
He probably was. Yeah.
Going out and earning his keep. But
probably
when
was.
Craig Button talks about a prospect, like, you kind of sit up. You're like, "Oh, geez."
But Schaefer's the real deal. Like, I think he's a franchise defenseman for somebody. Yeah. Nothing against some of these forwards at the top of this year's draft, but whoever's picking first overall should go Matthew Schaefer. I was with Button at the Holinka. You watch him play, and McKenna was on that team. I thought Schaefer was the best player, undoubtedly.
Speaking of defensemen as well, LeBron on Insider Trading saying the Oilers are.
Well, let's get into that too. Yeah. We'll definitely get into. Actually, we could kind of tie that into that hurts.
I think so.
Because for some people, it probably would
hurt.
All right, 780-218-9999. Danky Kang says, "Man, I need to hear these. It would be something to go back and listen to those HF radio podcasts, kind of before podcasts were a thing."
I always liked when Grapes wheeled them all out. The handful of the top guys, they'd all sit there and he'd just kind of test them.
The craziest one ever was I figured I'd just shoot my shot because I would talk to a lot of junior hockey teams back then, and I messaged the Quebec Ramparts for like months, and I was like, I'd like to chat with Patrick Roy. and he was coaching them at the time, and he was my childhood hero.
Yeah.
And I got a call from like their media relations guy, and I was golfing actually in the afternoon, and they're like, "Hey, Patrick Waugh, he can chat with you this afternoon." I was just like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." So I like full blown panic mode. Get back to the station, and people are like, "Where are you here?" I said, "Well, Patrick Waugh's supposed to be calling the station," and there was a time zone mix up. But I sat there and waited for like 2 hours just in case the time zone mix up like caused a concern or something. And he eventually called, and 23-year-old, 24-year-old Dustin Nielson was just, it was insane. He's like,
Not since sitting on Bobby Hull's lap.
this is Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
It's Dustin there. I was like, yes, he is. Like, that was fun. Like I used to love covering the draft and prospects, and like that was my passion for like 10 years.
Pavel Brendel. Was there ever a...
Well, no, I never did Brendel because Brendel was through the dub by the time I got to
Different
broadcast
timeline,
school.
yeah.
So that would have been, I would have had to track Brendel down in the American League somewhere.
The Golden Bear.
Oh man, Brendel. What a
cherry picker.
What a cherry picker he was. But man, could he finish?
Sure.
God, that guy was sick, but he just never came back past center ice. But he was the best junior hockey player I ever saw play. He was incredible.
Well, Mike Bubnick would like a word.
Brendel, yeah. I mean, we could do Brendel stories for a long time, too. 780-218-9999. If you were watching over on YouTube, feel free to chime in. Machine Gun Yammark says, do you guys think the McDavid crosscheck was tied to the Soucy crosscheck? I think it played into an unpaid debt that set off 97 that should have been addressed. Man, I think we're probably stretching it a little bit. No, that was vicious. Like, it really was. And I know some people were trying to use that as a comparison. Like, this only got one game. And you remember he was checked from behind, and then he went down, and they got checked in the head. And I hate this too. I hate this too from a National Hockey League perspective. But they're like, well, but it was only one because it was the playoffs. And I'm like, man, just call it the same way they officiate the playoffs. Well, you can get away with more. And I know some people say, well, actually, penalties get called at the same rate. Yeah, but guys get away with a lot more stuff.
Goals should count as
because
two.
Things get cranked up another notch. So there's probably twice as many infractions actually happening in the playoffs compared to regular season. But yeah, they might still just be calling the same amount, which means these teams are getting away with a whole lot more. That's why it's always going to be frustrating for Oilers fans when you have a team that's lethal on the power play and you think they should be drawing legitimately 12 power plays a bloody hockey game. But it's the playoffs, so the refs would only look at 6 of them, and they're only going to call 3 of them anyway because it's a playoff game. That part is very frustrating. Very frustrating. All right, let's do that. Hurts.
That coffee's
right
hitting, eh?
Is it?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I might want another. I want to drink enough of this velvet cream that I can have a really good nap between 9 and 11 this morning.
Yeah, you'll have there's the up and then there's the down.
You didn't tell me about the down.
Well, I mean, you gotta. Popeyes will pick you back up.
I'm on a velvet cream and coffee drink this morning, and I'm enjoying it. All right, let's get into that hurts for James H. Brown. The heavy hitters of injury law. If you've been injured in an accident, what more do you need to know? Trent and his team at James H. Brown are going to look after you. JamesHBrown.com is where you can begin that journey to make sure you get everything you deserve and should get following an accident. Do you have the what was the LeBron? Let's get into this quickly.
Yeah,
because
and take it for what it's worth. I mean, it's insider trading. I mean, a lot of these guys are getting, but
you're getting tidbits. I've got it right here.
Yeah.
So on insider trading, Pierre LeBrun said that the Oilers still want to add to their defense.
Okay,
but this is where it might be that hurts for some of you. They still want to add to their D, but it will not be a sexy addition.
Yeah.
More of a depth guy, a shutdown player who can also play the PK.
So Klingberg, fill in that blank. Is that enough?
That's the question. Does that hurt you? We haven't seen Klingberg yet. If he's moving well, we know he can move the puck.
He seems in great spirits. Like he's
getting a second lease on his career here.
I know, but you know what I'm saying? You get this, like you can just tell when somebody's speaking, like he's, and yeah, you're right. You are getting a second chance, but it just seems like, again, they've obviously done their due diligence on him. They're bringing him in. It's a great deal. Only something to gain here really from both parties, but him plus A non-sexy
depth guy, non-sexy shutdown. I do feel bad for whoever it is that gets acquired because we'll just be like, oh, non-sexy addition.
Yeah.
So is that enough, do you think, for their defense and they're a legitimate Stanley Cup contender? I believe they're the odds-on favorite still. I think they're the best team in the league. Is that enough for you as a fan if it's Klingberg and depth guy / shutdown player who can also play the PK? I'm wondering if depth guy / shutdown player who can also play the PK could still be viewed as a number 4 guy to play alongside Darnell Nurse. Or when I see the description, depth guy, shutdown player who can also play the PK, is this a guy who will be fighting Emberson for time alongside Brett Kulak?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't necessarily still want to write off that a shutdown player who can play the PK can't be alongside Darnell Nurse. What say you? And if you go look at the replies to that tweet, it's like, David Savard incoming, that type of thing. So 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Zulu is in and says, this is the Oilers fan base. It is never enough.
Yeah, no, but I think there was another reply to that whole, why can't we have sexy things like everybody else?
Well, you got a lot of sexy things
You
on this
do.
team.
It's sometimes you don't see it.
Ekholm is sexy. The way Nurse has been playing this season, I would describe as moderately sexy if we're using that term to describe hockey players.
Is Rasmus Ristolainen sexy enough? Or too sexy?
I used to be really into Rasmus Ristolainen back
How
in the day.
handsome and how hot is Rasmus Ristolainen to you right now?
He would be somewhere between sexy and depth guy.
Yeah.
You know?
That might scratch the itch of some people.
What do you think? Let's go. 780-218-9999. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. That would be great. We are 39 away from changing 200 here. And we've got lots to get to still just after 7:30 today. And we got to dive into the Cool Bet segment as well. That hurts. Is that enough for your liking? Klingberg plus depth / shutdown guy. And if it's a good enough depth / shutdown guy, can you alternate him and Klingberg alongside Darnell Nurse, depending on the matchup, and then just leave Kulak and Emerson together? What say you? But does it hurt you that you hear now the addition on the blue line will not be sexy? Plot twist is Klingberg the sexy addition. Find out. Find out next week when he plays.
Well,
right? We'll see where that
what
goes.
about old Regula?
The missing man. You know, I'd like to at least see him play at some point.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into our Cool Bet segment today. If you've not yet signed up for an account at Cool Bet, let it be known that we are 1 week away from the next Lock Shop Poker Series event. If you have not been joining us in these evenings, they're terrific. Next Wednesday night, all you have to do is go to coolbet.com, download the poker software, and then you just go to tournaments, search Lock Shop, and you can register. And we usually end up somewhere between like 65 to 85/90 entries. And, if you're going to win the tournament, it's going to be about 3.5 hours to put a deep run in. And it's going to be a great time. I'm going to be
Yag Nielson, right?
I'm going to be streaming as Yag Nielson, and you'll be able to follow along on our YouTube channel on YouTube for Edmonton Sports Talk. And it's a good time. It's always a good time. So if you like to play cards, or you don't even have to be an expert, just pop in. It's fun. It's like just under $30 for the entry fee, and you can rebuy in for the first hour.
It's like a plate of nachos at a hockey game.
I think my highest finish was 17th. I'd like to crack top 10. I'd love to be final table guy at some point. Final table guy would be pretty good.
Well, even to be the last of the EST type of, right? Like, isn't that a win in its own?
Yeah, that's always nice. I've done that once.
Yeah, you did that.
I was EST champion
like
one time.
That's a little bragging around the HQ here.
For a month.
Yeah.
Like that's about it. All right, guys, let's do this. We've been doing these early bird specials, but there's only two games left. So let's do a little early bird special this week. And let's pick it. Let's go on the spread. Bills, Chiefs. I'm fully supporting the Bills plus 2 points here.
Hey.
All right, so you're in? Oh, it was solid, but not loud. Oh, that was awful. There we go. That was a good one.
We'll take it. We'll take
Trev,
it.
are you gonna step in here and ruin our unanimous Bills play at the +2, or
I'm with you guys.
you're with us? Trev, my man.
Yes.
Hey, get some coffee in
And
here.
I need some. I'm going in.
Have you not had one yet?
No, I have, but I need more.
Oh boy,
need-
thirsty
Still
guy.
finishing
I
your.
need a-
Yeah.
Okay, so we're taking the Bills +2. Then where do we come out on the Commanders and the Eagles? The line is 6. Commanders +6. Eagles -6. What are we looking at here?
I feel like just riding with the Commanders still +6.
Are we a Jaden
Plus
Daniels
6?
show?
Well, come on.
My concern here is that Saquon Barkley runs all over them.
But even if he did,
Can they still keep it close?
I think they could still keep it close. I think Philadelphia in both of these games hasn't really clicked out of. I mean, the Rams were still in it late there. I don't know.
I am fully on board with just riding with
Might as
Jaden
well just
Daniels.
live a little here,
I
yeah.
can't turn on this guy now. He knocked off my team. He helped me win the
Precisely,
Spite League.
Yeah.
I am fully invested in Jaden Daniels. He might be my next rookie card collection guy. All right, so we're going Commanders +6, Bills +2.
Doesn't look like any snowy action on tap for
In
that
Philly?
either. Yeah, so 4 degrees,
Or in
cloudy.
Kansas. Okay.
Yeah, Philly. Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay, that's good news then.
good news for Jaden.
+271, and we will get a Nielson Show boost from our partners over at CoolBet. You'll be able to find that in the combo cards right at the top of the site. Probably locked in around 3-1 here. So you bet $10, you win 30, you get 40 back. Bills +2, Commanders +6. You know what we just did here?
Yeah, you
without
got it.
even thinking about it.
been a
I was
while,
just looking at it right now,
Yeah.
but we are on 2 road dogs.
You didn't know? You better call somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, tonight, D-Generation X proudly brings to you its 6-time WWE Tag Team Champions of the World, the Road Dogg, Jesse James, the Badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaw. I love when he does that.
I love when we're on the dogs as well.
And if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you.
And then they would yell "suck it" and crop. What do they do?
They go to the
They do the crotch chop.
yeah.
Yeah. The 90s, am I right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to an update. Then we'll come back with free advice. What do you need help with? We will help you. Free advice, work advice, fantasy sports advice, life advice, relationship advice. We're going to get into that. Text us what you need help with, 780-218-9999. And we're about like 12 minutes away from Eric Macramalla, who was tweeting about McDavid and the suspension and all that stuff,
From
too.
a legalese point of view,
Yeah,
eh?
probably.
I like that.
He wants somebody locked up. I just don't know who. We'll get into that with Macramalla. We haven't even got to any Macramalla intros. I'm going to try to sort through those. Jam-packed show today. Let's get to this update with LT.
Oilers fall to the Capitals 3-2 from Rogers Place. Logan Thompson, the story, 30 saves on the evening. Leon Draisaitl, though, recording his league-best 33rd goal of the season, also adding an assist, while Alex Ovechkin was held off the score sheet. The Oilers Game 2 of their 6-game homestand tomorrow against the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks losing on home ice last night, 3-2 to the Sabres. Elsewhere, the Habs would rally past the Lightning 3-2. Rangers shutting out Ottawa 5-zip. And the Hurricanes over the Stars 2-1. 4 games around the NHL tonight. Toronto at home to Columbus. Colorado host Winnipeg. The Panthers visit the Kings. And the Devils host the Bruins. 9 games around the NBA this evening. Last night, the Raptors would claw back from a 21-point deficit, defeating Orlando 109-93. Scotty Barnes, 19 points and 11 boards for the Raps. And TGL Golf resuming last night. It was Atlanta Drive Golf Club picking up its first win, defeating New York Golf Club 4-0, dropping New York to 0-2. Action will resume Monday when 0-1 Jupiter Links take on Boston Common Golf. Sports Update brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, where if you go buy a car off him today, he will give you the DX Sucket.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching the button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Very impressive. Taking a few years to put all this together.
It's not a one-year quest because it's so hard to get your hands on. At this stage of my life, I don't invest in green bananas. It's a lifetime quest. Just not sure if I'm going to be around long enough to see them ripen to be yellow. You can't party enough when you win that thing. It's a party machine. Party machine.
Girl, I can't understand it. Why you wanna hurt me?
That's why it's the Stanley Cup.
After all of the things I've done for you.
It's hard. It's hard.
I buy you champagne and roses, put diamonds on your finger. Still you hang out all night. What am I to do? My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
Tom Gazzola.
What's that?
No wrench. Is everyone sad about last night's loss? It's hard, Tommy says, and then
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. That's going to be a deep playoff run song this year.
Might even add to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, we could
imagine?
extend it, and
Starts with Kenny.
I think that'll be. I think that'll be good.
It's the green banana ripening through the song.
I think I'm feeling this caffeine. in
I
this
think
coffee.
you are, yeah.
Like it
Could be the
it's
caffeine,
almost like,
could be the...
like I'm a little bit lightheaded. Is that what happens with the coffee?
Kind of
And maybe it's the velvet cream. I mean,
it could be.
There's a lot of that in there. It's like
Yeah,
50-50
you had a
split.
generous...
But yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling much more energized than I was at the beginning of the show.
You're up now, eh?
Oh.
Yeah, let's go.
I really am. Macramalla intros have been flying in. We're going to get to free advice. What do you need help with? 780-218-9999. Couple Macramallas. EST legal analyst and guy who shows no remorse or shame over using PEDs in the courtroom all throughout the 90s and 2000s.
Just a huge head.
Yeah.
Eric, your head's tripled in size.
EST legal analyst and guy who has the Guinness record for most complex piece of art drawn on his own butt. EST legal analyst and guy who demands the workers at the movie theater use his pre-melted butter that he brought from home. Would you like butter? Actually, yes, I would. And pulls out a bowl of it.
A freezer bag.
EST legal analyst and guy who was held in contempt of court for repeatedly making horrible more like jokes during trial. For example, nachos with cheese, more like ponchos with sleeves. If you do that one more time, I'm going to hold you in contempt. And ESC legal analyst and guy who loves to bang on the glass at minor hockey games for attention. Oof. That guy would be annoying. All right, 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in. Let's get into free advice right now for Damon Bunting. What do you need help with? 780-218-9999 or hit us up over in the nasty chat as well. And we'll get to a few of those. And hey, if you're watching on YouTube, 19 likes away from changing 200 this morning, even though I know, like, I want the city to still be fired up about this team, even after last night's game.
Oh, they are.
Like, you should be. They drastically outplayed the Washington Capitals without Connor McDavid on the ice. You could see the areas where they were missing McDavid, and if they had him on the power play, they probably would have won that hockey game. And you should not be down in the dumps, panicking, freaking out after that loss last night. That's two good hockey teams that were playing. The one team had a goaltender who played. I don't think Thompson stole the game, like stood on his head.
No, he was throwing out scorpions here or
but
there.
He made, I'd have to look at how many grade A's he got last night. You had it.
The
you
high
mentioned
danger.
it earlier. Like, what was
natural
the high
stat
danger?
trick. Let's go over those numbers again. If you want numbers, I got numbers. Scoring chances, 34-15. High dangers were 18-8.
18 high dangers for the Oil last night?
That's what the numbers say. I didn't
think it was that many.
They were flirting with an XG of 5. So, and if you take the Capitals into account as well, Logan Thompson had a great statistical week last week, but they haven't played since Saturday at home to the Penguins.
Oh, that helps too.
And I mean, this is game one of a road trip for them. So maybe if you're getting them on the end of this road trip, the middle of this road trip, however you want to see it, but
Thompson was undoubtedly the best player on the ice.
Not making excuses, but these are reasons.
I don't think they I don't think he stole that game.
And they didn't beat
but
them
he was
down
darn
either.
close.
No,
he was darn close.
so,
he was really
yeah,
good.
You move on. Again, you inject the 97 into that game. Totally different.
I do think they win that game with McDavid. And that's why I'm not backing off my prediction from the oil stream last week, where I think if the Oilers come out of the West, I think they win the Stanley Cup in 5 games or less. I think the West is much stronger than the East. And if you can and now there's the theory of, well, if you have come through a tough West, maybe you don't have a lot of juice left. But I don't see a world where Connor McDavid gets a second crack at a Stanley Cup and doesn't torch the opposition and win it.
The one thing out of the East I could see is perhaps hypothetically a Toronto appearance where it's so much where it's like Canada, and
Oilers
and
in 5 or less.
Okay, I get it. But I'm just saying that out of the other teams, I just don't really. That could be a bit more emotionally charged, shall we say?
That would be
take
something.
a different angle. Well,
I'd like to see 6
that
or
could
7
be
in those. Like just as a hockey fan, that'd be.
But you're
that would
right.
be fun.
In terms of competition wise, I mean, who else really scares you and jumps off the page today?
I would probably say the same
Montreal.
about no, but like some of these other top end teams in the West, I also think they could.
Fair enough.
Come to it now. Different motivation than what I think McDavid's got going right now. So. All right, let's get into free advice. By the way, did we get an update? Like, who threw the nachos? Who was this idiot?
Well, I wanted to kind of ask Macramalla what the process is when something like this happens.
Are there charges?
Well, no, but because I think we've gone through this with the jerseys on the ice. We've gone through this, but this is like throwing a jersey. Food is something different. I think beer is it different? Are there levels to this? Like if I were to rip my seat out and throw my seat out, I mean that's vandalism.
Yeah.
I mean you're gay, but like,
because it's nachos
isn't hurting anybody. But again, it's a bit of a mess. A jersey is just something you pick up. Like if I threw a cap on the ice, I could say, oh, I thought it was a hat trick.
Yeah.
There'd be a bit of a defense there, no? Because you're allowed to do that
before the goal happened, though. You know,
yeah. Oh, like during open play, nobody's even scored a goal yet. Oh, I thought there was a hat trick, but you could still like claim it because that's okay. I mean, just go to a random game and toss a teddy bear on the ice. I'm doing it for charity, right, or something like that. I want to know if there's kind of levels where it's just anything on the ice. Boom, you're out, ban, fine, whatever.
Dr. J says he's still not ruled out Connor McDavid as the nacho thrower. Maybe that's why the Oilers preemptively struck with that release because they're like, we fully support Connor in this process.
So this is the process.
Let's. Trev says, not our Trev, but a different Trev says, apparently the guy got tasered.
Well, what? Fought with cops. I'd like to. Well, we don't want to go off innuendo and hearsay.
Must have been drinking, I guess.
Well, again, the price point of those, like, I don't think the Oilers can bring back those nachos. It's too much against the cap.
No sober person would waste the money they spent on those nachos by throwing them on the ice.
And it wasn't the crumbly bits near the end. Like, there was some big chips on there. It took 2 scoops.
Being suggested over in the nasty chat that maybe the guy was choking and he threw them on the ice in a fit.
Get this away from me. They're killing me.
All right, let's get to some free advice. 780-218-9999. Hey, guys, I'm 27 years old. I haven't settled down yet or got into what I would describe as my career job. But a buddy of mine is suggesting we hitchhike from one Canadian coast to the other just to say we traveled the country in that fashion before we get on with our lives. Do you think I should do it?
Yes.
Yeah? I think you and I operate on different levels.
Yeah.
I think I'd be too scared to do this.
Well,
I'm
today,
not saying he shouldn't, but
aside from my wife, I really got nothing else tying me down. I do have a mortgage, I guess, but
but in your 20s, if this came up,
I did it to Gibbons. I did it on a small, albeit a smaller scale. And you remember that guy that picked me up
across the country?
Yeah, but the guy picked me up. He didn't know the bit.
Yeah, just a stranger.
And then I was like, I'm going to have to get out of this vehicle now. Luckily, I did find my way out, but I'd love to see the country. I'd love to drive. I'd like to take the train. Now that's a little
train
pricey,
across the country would be cool.
Because you're going off the highway, you're going into parts unknown.
Can you go train from coast to coast?
Oh yeah, the CN. I watched the documentary.
Same train, you got to be
be
changing trains.
Well, you get off in certain stops, but I know hitchhiking's not what it used to be, and it's a little more, shall we say, risque. I do love driving back to Saskatoon. Sometimes you'll see the odd guy.
Yeah,
or
do you
guys.
have you ever picked up a hitchhiker?
No,
me neither.
But Ryan's dad Les always used to. I think
they did.
Yeah.
Nice, good guy.
Yeah.
I contemplated for like a brief second when I see one. I'm like, man, I could probably really
slow down. Do you?
No, I know. I never slow down. Yeah. But I always think I two things go through my mind. I think, I could really help this person out. But then I also think, but he could kill me. So you have to weigh the two.
But how often do you hear that happening?
In movies.
Sure. But I think there's a lot of successful hitchhiking stories that just don't make the 6 o'clock news. Because if it doesn't bleed, it bleeds, right? Like,
Man successfully hitchhikes to Calgary from Edmonton.
How
Nobody's
many
gonna
happen? No.
Run a headline on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure they happen. But I fully support the endeavor.
Lots of good reaction on this. Trev, you're around this age. Now you have I think you have a good job here. I think you're happy with your life.
Very happy.
But let's say you were working, I don't know, wherever, it wasn't your career yet.
Not ready.
Would you do it? Would you try to hitchhike across?
Pick up the bingo.
I hate asking for anything. Like even at a restaurant, I'll be like, excuse me, I hate to bother you here, but could I get a refill on my water? Like, I hate asking that. I could never ask somebody, hey, you want to give me a ride for a couple hours? I don't think I could do it.
No. It's not in my core to be like, hey, okay, and take me along as long as you want. I feel bad. I really do. And so I'd probably, I support the trip. If he has a vehicle, I'd do it that way.
You would rather just take your own vehicle.
I would way rather.
Yeah.
And then everyone's different. And I get the story. Yeah, we hitchhiked. So that's pretty cool. You're going to have kids one day say that. Your kids are going to be like, that's crazy, Dad. Like, tell me more. Yeah. And then we found this guy in Saskatchewan who took us along. And so I like the story, but I mean, for me personally, I'd be very, I'd feel bad. I'd feel like a burden.
Yeah, like really
hey,
sorry about this.
Can I 50 more kilometers, please? I couldn't ask that. So I support the decision, but if you have a vehicle, I'd probably suggest doing
Big
it that
Slam
way.
Nasty says, I'm 27 and I'm scared to get in my buddy's car because he barely knows how to drive stick.
Did you see the Bobby LaFrench text?
Bobby LaFrench? Yeah. What did he have to
Spent my
say?
20s hitchhiking around the country. That's how I ended up in Montreal. It's so easy. Just be flexible at the time and never hitch at night. That's when the crazies come out. 40,000 plus kilometers hitched in Canada, US, and Mexico. He says, met some amazing people, so many stories. He did it between 2004 and 2010. So this isn't, in the 70s, that always happened back in the day. You hear stories, everybody, but this is in this millennium.
Yeah, I would assume somebody's hitchhiked for years and then wrote a book about it. Like all the stories. If not, that's a good opportunity for this guy and his buddy if they're going to hitchhike across the country. Dex is in this. In 1980, when I was 5, we were driving from Newfoundland to Edmonton. My dad picked up an old lady hitchhiking. She was smoking in the car and put it out in the ashtray built into the seat where I used to store my gum wrappers, and the car became on fire.
Oh, boy. I don't think insurance would cover that one.
That's a good story. I like that one. Guys, while traveling in New Zealand, I had to hitchhike to the next town. Van pulls over, and the guy driving went to my small town high school. Weird coincidence. He was in the grade above me. That's pretty crazy as well.
It's a trucker thing, is it not? Too like a lot of truckers.
Well, if truckers probably bored and lonely,
friend of the road type
pick
of
them
thing.
up, hop on in.
Yeah.
I always wanted to sleep in one of those sleepers in a truck. Hey, you're hitchhiking, you get a couple hours rest.
Man, I've always wanted to drive truck.
Yeah,
it'd be neat. Like you're alone.
You go like this.
You can blow the horn. Yeah, your gear shifting and everything.
It's just you and the road.
The open road. Yeah.
You and the
you
open
get a
road.
bad back.
If I drove a semi, I'd make the front of it look hilarious, like intimidating, like goalie masks back in the day.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Like
you can
John
get the
Van
spikes on the wheels.
mask.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Anyway, I say go for it, man. My father-in-law, rest in peace. That's how he got to Edmonton. Him and his buddy, they were full-blown hippies. And they had their guitar, and they're just like, let's hitchhike across the country.
Well, it used to be more
and
in
that's how
vogue.
they got out here,
yeah.
man. Like, yeah.
People used to love to pick them up. Now not so much.
T-Mac, the rugby guy, says, hitchhiking is a free Uber. I guess technically that's what it is. All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. And Big Slam Nasty, one more. We'll get to some Macramalla intros. If you're putting up those kind of kilometers hitchhiking, you get your shirt put up in the rafters of a Husky restaurant.
What a text.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. All right. Let's get into Eric Macramalla, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. EST legal analyst and guy who demands that the workers at the movie theater use his pre-melted butter that he brought from home. EST legal analyst and guy who was held in contempt of court for repeatedly making horrible, more like jokes during trial. EST legal analyst and guy who loves to bang on the glass at minor hockey games for attention. EST legal analyst and guy who shows no remorse or shame over using PEDs in the courtroom all throughout the 90s and 2000s.
Huge head.
That's a pretty good one as well. Let's bring in. He's slimmed down a bit since his PED usage days, but Eric Macramalla does join us on the show this morning. Macramalla, what were PEDs like?
They enhanced my performance as an esquire, as legal counsel. It didn't necessarily make me better at the law, but I was far more intimidating. So people were less likely to object because I was totally ripped. Right?
Did you do the chewables or?
I would take gummies if I felt my performance was slipping. Ryan Braun would give me those gummies, and then he threw the collector onto the bus, as we all know.
Excellent Ryan Braun joke.
Thank you. Those are the guys. He would take them in the dugout during games, and then it's so weird that after he was caught doping and after he lied like A-Rod's, threw the collector under the bus and the package didn't, like, there was just all this nonsense. And then suddenly he's not doping anymore, and then he sucks. Remember Chris Colabello tested positive and blamed his dog? Remember that? He said he had his dog's urine sent for testing. I play that on Offside, a show no one listens to all the time. I play it without context, too. I sent my dog's blood and urine to be tested. Like, that's when you know you're reaching. I mean, Marion Jones, right? She went to jail for lying about this. But this guy is saying, I went to have my dog's blood and urine tested for PEDs because I got it from him. And that begs the question, Chris Colabello, how did your dog give you PEDs? Are you open mouth kissing your dog? Is this like, how does that, you need to transfer some kind of saliva or blood from the dog to the human. Last time I checked, other than Kentucky, that's not legal.
Eric Macramalla with us on the show this morning. Hey, just quickly on the whole courtroom thing.
Did you just roll your eyes?
No, I'm tired. My eyes almost
I was
closed,
hoping to, because that's my goal. Make you roll your eyes.
I'm drinking. I never drink coffee. I hate the taste of it.
What are you drinking?
I'm having a coffee with a bunch of velvet cream liqueur in it, and it's been a good show so far, Eric. It's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, are we live?
It's delicious. We are live.
Are we live?
I wanted to ask you about, like, are you ever, I don't think this would be the case, but like, do you ever get into a courtroom and are physically intimidated by the person you're going against? Like maybe they're like extremely handsome.
No, it's a good question.
This person's
it's a good question. Yeah. There is, you know what it was in the beginning? The physical intimidation would likely be associated with opposing counsel that was gray-haired, who looked the part, like a Mark Hamill in his prime from the A-Team, not from that show CSI, which I've seen, by the way. It's complete crap. I don't understand how people think that this is good writing. Something that Jeb Bush would do is a low-energy loser.
Mark Hamill's in a CSI?
Isn't he? Like, not Mark Hamill. Sorry. What was the name of the guy Face from the A-Team? I got Mark Hamill's from Star Wars.
No, yeah,
Dustin Hoffman was Darth Vader, though.
I can't remember. I know the guy you're talking about. Yeah, I was like,
you know what I'm talking about. But by the way, yes. No, Mark Hamill is...
should be a CSI Star Wars. I'd watch that. Anyway, continue.
Dirk Bennett? No. Who? Oh, I don't know.
In the end, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
What was I? Oh, right. So it would be what they, if they looked older and more seasoned, and then I might be intimidated. And then you learn something, as you do anything in life. 80% of people are idiots, so you usually have the edge.
Eric Macramalla with us on the show this morning. It's been an interesting...
Are you guys drunk? Are you drunk? Because you can be. The CRTC is not... Okay.
No. We're just... I never have coffee, so the coffee's very much...
well, speaking of idiots, I kind of wanted your thoughts, too. If you were to throw nachos at a hockey game, what happens? What's the legal process coming out of that?
Yeah, you see this nacho thing last night here in Edmonton?
No, tell me about it. I want to hear all about it.
Well, somebody threw nachos on the ice.
Yeah.
Right before Corey Perry scored the second goal of the game for the Oilers, and Eric was wondering, You know,
does it differentiate? Say, like we've gone through, people throw hats for a hat trick. Everybody gets a prize for that. Everybody's happy. They walk away happy and not in handcuffs. You throw a jersey on the ice. It's nobody likes that. But are there levels to this in terms of like throwing a beer can or a smashing a bottle or a plate of hot nachos? Like, is it all the same, or what are we talking about?
Well,
here?
first, let me understand the context. Was it an expression and/or manifestation of some disdain for a moment that had just occurred?
I don't know. I mean, Draisaitl was on a rush up the ice. I don't know what it would have been.
Okay. Well, I think that if there's cheese in the nachos, because that's what nachos are. You're not saying just the chips.
It was nachos.
But the whole nacho.
Yeah.
Cheese.
Has anybody ever ordered nachos without cheese?
It's a tough look.
Imagine that. Yeah. I'll have nachos, but hold everything except for the nachos. Oh, you want chips?
Nachos, please.
Yes, but I want to pay more. So if you got cheese and tomatoes that are diced up finely, and maybe some chives, maybe chicken, that's it, because that hits the ice. That's gonna stick, man.
That's a mess,
right? That's gonna stick. So to me, that's poor form. The nacho, like at the World Juniors when Canada lost to Czechia, I guess the country is rebranded from Czech Republic to Czechia. That really hasn't taken, but it's but really fun when a country rebrands. We're changing our name. I don't think you can do that. Anyway, I'm sure you saw it on TV. Someone threw their Canada jersey onto the ice, right? Yeah. I can understand. That's the game's over. You're unhappy. They're also throwing cans on the ice, which is stupid. But someone threw a jersey. I can understand that. That's fine. But nachos, they're delicious. And you bought them because you're hungry. And you bought them at a hockey game, so you paid $95 for a little thing of nachos.
As a jersey. That's how much you paid for those nachos.
I'm pretty sure if you met this person, you would walk away after a conversation with him and say, he's an idiot. Right? He's an idiot.
I think so.
George Peppard.
No, George Peppard was the lead on the A team, the good-looking guy who they called Face because he was handsome.
I don't know.
On CSI.
I don't know if anybody from the A team has been on CSI.
Oh my God, I never thought in all my life I would hear that sentence. That is the best sentence ever. Put it on a T-shirt. You'll sell 7 of them, all of them to me, and I'll have them out for Christmas. I don't think anybody from the A team has been on CSI. Yes, they have.
I saw you tweeting about what we've been talking about in Edmonton for the last 3, 4, 5 days. And that is Connor McDavid, Tyler Myers, both getting 3 games. McDavid's coming out of frustration because he was being mugged by Connor Garland, and there was no call, so he got up and he cross-checked him in the face. Your thoughts on how all this has played out and what the reaction has been like?
I didn't let. Well, first, the 3-game suspension seems a bit severe given the NHL's past practice and precedent. Usually that's a game. Right? Or usually it's nothing, or usually it's a promotion. We know that with the NHL, when it comes to discipline, it's ass backwards. You have no clue what is happening, right? But it's what I found to be so irritating on that play is Connor Garland is mauling. He's all over him, right? He pulls him down not once but twice. Connor McDavid has been targeted since U11 hockey. Okay? The great players get targeted when they're 9 or 10 years old for the rest of their lives. The guy, every shift, is getting more attention than anybody else. And they're not calling stuff. Of course he's going to be frustrated. Like, call those penalties. Why? Because there's a minute or whatever, a minute and a half left in the game.
No,
down by a goal.
There was like 20 seconds left in the game at that point.
20 seconds. Okay, sorry. 20 seconds. So what? The rule book always shrinks in an NHL game. The closer you get to the net, the closer the score is, and with less time on the clock. The rule book just keeps shrinking.
Hey, that is
awful. Is that not a penalty in the first game of the season in the first period? Isn't it? It's 5 minutes for wrestling, right? It's the Randy Macho Man Savage penalty. Just keeps taking him down. Honestly, if there was a third row, Connor Garland would have jumped off of it. Ooh, I like that.
That's a good line.
Yeah, you like that? Put that on a T-shirt.
Nobody's used that in the city yet. That's a great line. No, it's Mark Harmon.
I'm going to use that on my own show, but nobody listens.
You were thinking of Mark Harmon.
Yes, I just found it. Mark Harmon.
Yeah, Mark Harmon.
Wasn't he on CSI?
He was on NCIS.
Oh, well, it's not my fault. It's just a bunch of letters.
That's why we didn't understand what you were saying. It was an NCIS.
It's like he wasn't on Different Strokes. He was on Webster. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. Back when race was a punchline in sitcoms, which is nuts. They never do that today.
It used to be, yeah. Anyway, so
my daddy's white.
I said yesterday. Like all we do, like it's even like, and I've been guilty of it myself. Like when I'm calling hockey games, you go, "Oh, it could have been a call, but the whistles have been put away," and I'm like,
Yes.
why? Like, why do we just accept that refs let more go? The more important the moment gets, like it doesn't make any
sense. Did you guys notice before that the refs skated over to the scorekeeper and gave the scorekeeper all the whistles? They just handed them here.
Literally, they put them
take all the whistles, and then they had a third rope installed in the defensive zone. It's insane. I look. We do okay. We understand how refs are trained, right? We all know this. You know this, Dustin. You're very tall, so you played hockey at some point, and then it didn't work out, and everyone was disappointing because they thought you were their pension. Agreed? Given your size, I understand. But we all know how refs are trained. Referees are trained to manage the game. Agreed? They're not trained like NFL refs. NFL refs have just a small little part of the field they're responsible for, right? Like 8 blades of grass, and they're told to call everything. But in the NHL, because it's such a violent, savage game at times, they're just trained to manage the game. So I get that. You don't want to. It's annoying, a lot of penalties, but that was a number of penalties. It's so insane. He is your star. He's the face of your league along with other players, right? And this is a league that is notorious for not protecting its stars. What did Mario call the NHL years ago? A garage league. Remember that? You got back problems.
Long time ago. But yeah. I mean, but
the same time as Webster in different strokes, and when Mark Harmon was on the A team and not CSI or NCSI or WWF.
I pointed out this morning, since McDavid stepped on the ice, 2015, nobody has drawn more penalties than Connor McDavid. So
but since 2021, since 2021, he's top 5 in penalties drawn. This year, he's 47th.
This year's been a different year. I can see why the frustration comes from this year, but people in this market are acting like he's never drawn a penalty in his 10 years. Like,
he's top 5 since 2021. I looked into this, but this year he's 47th in the NHL in penalties drawn. He's not playing a different game. I don't know, guys, like you watch minor hockey. Your son Marshall is playing, right? With kids half his height, right?
Yeah.
Your son is targeted. He has to be. I told other kids to target your son, because he thinks he's tall and better than everybody else.
He's a defenseman. He's a defenseman, so I've been teaching him to do the targeting. But
Marshall was so upset when I put my sign up at the game at your. Is it U9 that he's playing? What is he playing?
He's playing U11 now. Yeah.
He's playing with U11 kids probably, but he's like 4. No, he hated that when I put that sign. He's like, "Why'd you put that sign up?" It said, "Marshall, you're a low energy loser like Jeb Bush." He's like, "That really hurt my feelings." I told him to suck it. You suck it, Marshall. I don't care if you're 10 or 9 or 10 years old. Who do you think you are? And don't disappoint like your daddy, who's no one's pension, because he couldn't leverage his size and his strength for an NHL career, or even as a tight end. You would have been a great tight end.
It would have been great. Right? You're right. It's true.
It's like, and now the screen goes black.
Yeah, that was the end of it.
The show's over.
Yeah.
Great tight end.
Great segment today. Sorry we kept you a little bit later than usual, but you were really on fire, so we wanted to let it run.
No, but I got on later, so it's totally fine. Hey, you guys, there is no time limit. Okay, I love you guys more than Dustin's failed athletic career. You guys take care.
See you later, man. There you go. That's Eric Macramalla. See you later. Kylie and Balmer's in it says, Dusty sounding like this is Calgary sports talk, the way he's coming at fans. Look, man, I'm just saying, McDavid has drawn the most penalties since he came into the league. He's, as Eric Macramalla just said, he's top 5 in the last 5 years. He hasn't been drawing as many this year. I can see why everybody's frustrated. But how much more do you want than the most? Like, he's drawn the most since he's played in the league. I don't know how that's unfair. It's a fact. Like people yesterday are like, he's not drawing enough this year, sure. But his entire career, nobody has drawn more penalties than Connor McDavid. Nobody has gotten more power plays for their team than Connor McDavid. I don't know why we need to compare it to the NBA, which is completely unrelatable. I don't know why we need to compare it to the NFL, where they protect quarterbacks, but really nobody else. I mean, to me, just focus on the NHL issue. And the NHL issue is that the officiating is so inconsistent, not just related to Connor McDavid. The NHL has what frustrates me is we've turned McDavid into the victim here. when he is currently suspended for cross-checking somebody in the head. Like, I don't think that's a good spin for our market from how other people look in. I think it makes Edmonton look like a bunch of whiners.
Which is why I think the club released that statement. And it was a quick 2-liner or 2-sentence, 2.5.
But all they're doing is saying that they support.
But they're not whining, they're not griping, it's just they're disappointed. 3-game suspension.
So do you think the Oilers have just started a trend? Like, do you think other teams are going to see what the Oilers did and say, we should do that for our guy too?
No, because it won't be like this situation. It won't be a guy like him. It won't be a fan base like this. It won't be it won't be third parties outside of the organization going off on these tangents. I think they were just stating, like, this has happened. He's not going on strike. He won't be picketing the league offices anytime soon. Yeah. It happened. It's done. We look forward to having him back. I'm really kind of seeing that this morning. Maybe
that's what it is. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in.
Spency 5 Cents says the Macramalla interview today makes my...
Ah, man. Macramalla was good today, wasn't he? I thought he was terrific.
Makes my day.
All right. Strummy says, I agree. It's across the league issue. It's not just... It is. It's across the league. But if you go look, I posted yesterday, top penalties drawn. It's a bunch of guys who take coincidentals, Tom Wilson, Brad Marchand, since 2015, and it's McDavid, it's McKinnon, it's Panarin, I think. Like, the Stars do draw penalties in this league, and we just decided that because McDavid got suspended, we were going to spin it that none of these guys ever get calls. But if you actually go look at the numbers outside of this season, which is half a year so far, he's gotten a lot of calls. And deservedly so, because he should get those calls. And he should get a little bit more. I'm not saying that. But it's weird to me that we've turned a McDavid suspension into he's the victim. And I can see why fans in other markets look at it and go, man, you guys are ridiculous in Edmonton. And we shouldn't be looked at that way because the Oilers are freaking Stanley Cup contender. They shouldn't be talking about the market being a bunch of whiny babies. They should be talking about the market as the team to beat in the National Hockey League right now. And the focus has been lost because everybody's freaking out about a deserved suspension. A little bit too long. But let's be honest. It was a suspendable offense.
We still need to
we also can't sit here and go, I love it when these guys stand up for themselves and then complain about, the repercussions of it. It's a weird cycle that we're in right now. He needs to come back and torch the Kraken, and then we can just move forward, I think.
You promised we'd get to the Santander deal, and we're kind of eating into that
Not sure there's going to be time.
We're eating into that now as we...
Not sure there's going to be time. All right, let's get to a sports update. We need somebody to play kind of easy trivia right now. 780-218-9999. Gift certificate to Mr. Mike's is up for grabs. 780-218-9999. Text Trev right now. He'll get somebody to play kind of easy trivia today. Jam-packed third hour that we're already cutting into. Try to get out for Maddie on the hangout in time, but we'll see. Let's get to the update.
The Oilers falling to the Capitals 3-2 from Rogers Place. Logan Thompson, 30 saves. Leon Draisaitl, his 33rd goal of the season, plus an assist. Alex Ovechkin held off the score sheet as the 6-game homestand continues tomorrow against the Vancouver Canucks. Sabres topping the Canucks last night 3-2. Jesper Kotkaniemi scoring twice, leading the Hurricanes over the Stars 2-1. Rangers shutting out Ottawa 5-0, and the Habs would rally past Tampa 3-2. 4 games dotting the NHL schedule tonight. The Kings are at home to the Panthers. Winnipeg visits Colorado. Leafs host the Blue Jackets, and the Devils entertain the Bruins. The Raptors clawing back from a 21-point deficit to defeat the Magic 109-93. Scotty Barnes, 19 points and 11 boards. 9 games around the NBA later tonight. TGL Golf returning last night. It was Atlanta Drive Golf Club with a 4-0 win over New York Golf Club. Action will pick up again Monday when 0-1 Jupiter Links takes on Boston Common Golf. Sports update brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc, locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and the surrounding area since 1993. Doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff at Windsor Plywood Leduc.
Oh, baby. Yeah. A
listen to this. 18,000 watching every night. No more staph infection, so you can take flight. It's okay that you don't shoot right. Your future's still very bright. Your future's very bright. A 7-year deal is what you sign. Well, with an AAV that we don't mind. So now with Lawson by your side, yeah, we know you're gonna be just fine. You know who you are, Clefbaum, yeah. Oscar Clefbaum. Every time you score a goal, we're gonna play the song. Clefbaum, Oscar Clefbaum. And Oscar, you can do no wrong. Oscar, you can do no wrong. Clefbaum, Oscar Clefbaum. Every time you score a goal, we're gonna play the song. Clefbaum, Oscar Clefbaum. And Oscar, you can do no wrong. You can do no wrong. And Oscar, you can do no wrong.
Oscar Clefbaum goal song for you today. That would have been a sexy ad.
Clefbaum, Klingberg, Swedes.
I mean, you might make a case. You might make
Big
a case.
Maple in the nasty chat.
If Klingberg comes in and hammers home a rocket, then maybe you would just call it the Klingbaum. Many people want him to replace Bouchard, is what we're seeing. So
John Anderson, Klingbaum.
Yeah. 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in today. Steady. He wants to get in on the conversation. Guys, the play was suspension worthy, but if the refs do their job, that probably doesn't happen. The Oilers probably beat Washington. I would agree with you on one part. I do think if McDavid plays last night, they beat him. I also think they were by far the better team last night, and you really shouldn't be concerned about the loss. But how many times can we watch a hockey game and say, man, the refs should have done that. The refs should have done this. The refs should do their job better. And every time that happens, you're supposed to accept a cross-check to the face? Like, it was a suspension. Let's just eat it. They're probably going to win the next 2 games, I think. This is a great, this could be very much a positive for this team.
Absolutely.
Think about this.
It'll look great in the documentary.
Well, the cup run, like the suspension.
This is what you have during these docs.
And then they face the nemesis, the Vancouver Canucks, without their captain. And step up and physically abuse them and win on the scoreboard.
Couldn't beat them with Connor in the lineup Saturday night, maybe without.
I mean, the opportunity for the organization here to really go out and make a statement against Vancouver without him, I think will go a much longer way than having him in that lineup for that random Thursday game in January. So I think there very much could be a positive that comes out of this. All right, 780-218-9999. What's this over here? Breakfast sandwiches?
Is that Herb's Hose?
Herb's Hose. Great text the other day. That was great. Oh, awesome. That's a nice little drop off. All right, 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999 is where you can get in. Keep those text messages rolling in as well, and we'll get to a few more of those on the show this morning. Third hour, pretty jammed up. Wyshynski's going to join us from ESPN. 3 questions too many. Kind of easy trivia. Lieutenant Eric's weekly rankings of power. And the Marmot Basin Snow Report, plus the wrap, of course, for William Huff. Trev, who do we have playing kind of easy trivia today for Mr. Mike Steakhouse Casual?
Travis is going to give it a go.
All right, Travis is going to take a run at this. Needs to get 3 out of the 5 correct to win the gift certificate to Mr. Mike's, the casualest place ever and home of the classic Mike Burger. An absolute can't miss. All right, here we go. Let's get into kind of easy trivia today. Travis, you ready to play?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. I'll start the ticker. After we read the first question, good luck. What position does Logan Thompson play?
Goalie.
Name one player who scored for the Oilers last night.
Draisaitl.
What food item was thrown on the ice at Rogers Place last night?
Oh, nachos.
What sport does Karl Anthony Towns play?
Basketball.
How many teams are still alive in the NFL playoffs?
Say Calgary sucks.
5 for 5. I like it.
That is why I did it. At number 5. Are you kidding me? That's right. Who do you think you are? I am.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
That's a paddling.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Oh, you better believe that's a paddling.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's a paddling.
The first year, we took it to the limit. Take it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
Congratulations. And how about using the little kid to drop a Calgary Sucks in there?
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Trevor, the Trojan horse, or was it Travis? Trevor? Travis.
I think it was Travis.
Yeah. No, I love it. 6 out of 5.
Makes me think of the Achy Breaky and Randy Travis. Did we ever do any Randy Travis? I don't think we did a Randy Travis.
He's a 90s guy. Like, I don't know. For some reason, he's
I think
an
more of his
80s
hits
guy.
were in
to
the
me.
80s. Yeah. He was kind of pre-Garth and George Strait, and they're still around then. But
he was naked driving, right, or whatever. He had a bit of a fall from grace there near the.
Oh, really? That sucks.
Well, we'll cover it in the pod.
Yeah, exactly.
Three wooden crosses, 2002. Oh no, I guess that's out of the. Yeah, he's got in the 80s and the new millennium. So he just kind of skipped over the 90s. It seems like.
Greg Wyshynski will join us around 8:30 today. Weekly rankings of power coming up. Marmot Basin Snow Report and the wrap for William Huff as well. Herb's Hose dropping off some A&W this morning. God, you know why?
Bam.
Because it's 2 bacon and eggers or 2 sausages and eggers for just $6. Shout out Herb's Hose.
I think he came to pick up a text of the day,
Had
too.
to have been picking up text of the day.
Basically, spent his text of the day on us.
Do you remember his text of the day? Do you have the list of all of the texts of the days?
Yeah, let's get it up here.
Because it wasn't that long ago.
Entertain me for a second here.
It wasn't that long ago that Herb's Hose went text of the day. I think it was pretty good. And this year, we've tracked text of the day so well that the text of the year at the Estes next year will legitimately be the text of the year.
Oh, and how funny is that? It is a Eric Macramalla.
Also, was it last Wednesday?
Text. EST legal analyst, a guy who lays in bed with his shirt off and tickles his stomach when he's in need of
a laugh. Yeah.
That's the one.
That's a good one. That really
makes my day.
That was funny. Man, I wish I would remember that when he was here. I would have totally said, like, that was a funny text.
Yeah. Halloween, Red texted in, Dusty is the Brady Stonehouse of EST.
On Halloween?
I think that was when you've been missing so much time.
Man,
Hell
that's
of
a good text too.
Yeah, a real good pull.
The race for text of the year is going to have to be absolutely. I don't know how we're going to sort through that really.
Well, it's like March Madness here, almost. You have to do a bracket.
Big Maple says, "Are you insulting that my win? Are you insinuating that my win for text of the year has an asterisk? No. I'm just saying,
you were just before the new
tracking. Yeah, you were before the new tracking system.
Yeah,
it was still the best text of the year.
Yeah, you got the award. It's all good.
There would just be
we're not taking it
more
back.
in the mix from our tracking system this year.
I don't mind a bracket though. Hey, you could do a huge one.
Yeah,
you have history with brackets. You know how to run a good bracket.
Can you imagine a text bracket? We haven't launched a bracket here at EST yet, and you know why? It's because we always went on a deep playoff run last year, and by the time they were done, it was like, oh, everybody rest for a month, and then it's go time again.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to rob us of a summer bracket this year as well. It's going to be a June playoff exit of victory or failure at some point, I think, this year. So Kevin says, guys, the Estes are this year. Just saying. I guess they are.
Yeah, no, it's but do you do the calendar year or the cycle year?
If you missed the Estes last year, you do not want to miss out on the Estes this year. It was beyond. I had pretty high expectations, but it went beyond my expectations. I thought it was
fans first. I think you can.
It was terrific. Yeah, there would be people scalping tickets on fans first because there's no fees, and it's by fans for fans. All right, let's get into 3 questions too many today. Brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. Lieutenant Eric, do you have a liner for the segment?
3 questions too many, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, where he's more excited about the Handsome Man draft than any of the suspension talk. Park Mazda, your dealer for life.
The hangout. I mean, I think they probably went on a little bit too long yesterday with the Handsome Man talk.
Yeah.
But Trev, you were involved in that yesterday.
Yeah.
What'd you guys do? Like an hour on Handsome Men in the Handsome Man draft?
It started and then it just kept going. It kept going.
I was listening to the show. I was chiming in, and then I was like, man, they're still talking about handsome men.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Jasmine was a star yesterday.
Yeah, she absolutely.
She was
crushed
terrific
it.
yesterday on the Hangout, man.
As
A couple
per
rants,
usual.
Oh yeah, she was great.
Yeah, there's lots of rants yesterday, but I didn't realize all of a sudden it's 45 minutes in, and we're still talking handsome man draft. I'm like, oh gosh, wow, we've been going at this for 45 minutes. Holy crap! But I think what you can get from that, it's deep. That's what we're talking about. It's a deep draft. We've had deep drafts before, but I mean, I think this one takes the cake. It really does.
Need the
There's
categories
so many handsome men out there, and that's
Yeah,
what
it's time to build categories.
Build the categories.
I bet you
now.
that's a Friday category. The Friday thing. Spin the wheel for draft order next week. Next Friday is the draft.
But you're not here Friday.
I'm not here Friday, yeah.
So.
Well, you guys could build phrase.
No,
won't have anything
he
to do with
will
that.
not.
We'll build categories on Monday. Tomorrow will be a big day, setting up the revenge game and everything. So we'll, you know what we should be talking? We should be talking about somebody getting revenge for Bouchard. like Bouchard's the one who took a cross check to the face. Nobody's mentioned him once.
The forgotten check. Yeah.
That poor guy took a shot right to the chicklets.
And if somebody said they didn't even bring out a statement for Tyler Myers, the Canucks. Hey?
Yeah. Well,
I
they
mean,
don't.
it
They don't
shows what you
care.
think of them,
obviously. They obviously don't care. All right. Do you have a Twitter account, Rick?
Yes, at Lieutenant_Eric. You can follow on Twitter. I think Brendan also has. It's too bad he's not here today. I found him on Twitter last night.
What?
He follows Gazzola.
That's it?
At Edmonton Sports Talk, at YEG Sports Talk. I give the station account a follow. Yeah, it's at Brendan Eric, ERICK_.
I just realized, like, I started following a bunch of people on Instagram.
Good.
Yeah, because I don't go on Instagram much.
I've been sending you Costco guy videos.
Please don't.
You found out what that is.
Are you putting those in my DMs over there?
Slide a few.
I basically only go on Instagram to post pictures of my kids sometimes, and then I'll browse through like when the videos just keep popping up, and I've got a really good algorithm going of funny golf related videos right now. So I kind of just get sucked into those, and I send them to some buddies. But that's my usage of Instagram right now.
It's like TikTok. Same. Yeah. The reels. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Question number 1. Do you guys think if the season ended today, Bouchard would be willing to sign for $10 million per year? And I know Tommy's mentioned a number of times the ask will be 11. If the season ended today, with the way his season is gone, high moments, low moments, there will still be people who swear by him. There will be others who, there was a guy actually sitting in front of me last night at the game that didn't have any time at all for Evan Bouchard.
You're putting it mildly, are you?
You know how it is. It's like that, I think. I would hope it's like that with guys who are outstanding offensive defensemen and do that better than anything else they do. I hope it's like that in other markets too. I hope that's not just an Edmonton thing. But do you think, and Trev, you can chime in on this one too, if the season ended today with how his season is gone, and he is third on the team in points, but there are some forwards who are certainly lacking in point production this year, and Bouchard's not at where I thought he would be. I thought he was going to be definitely a point per game defenseman, if not more. Do you think if the Oilers said, and I'm not saying they should say this, I'm just saying if they said, here's 10 mil, do you think Bouchard instantly signs that? Or do you think he goes, well, we wanted 11. We might stick to our guns here. Or do you think, and now I know many of you are going to say, well, 10 would be an overpay.
Yeah, but you're asking the question is, does Bouchard take that overpay?
Does he sign this immediately? What do you think?
Yeah, based, I guess, off the season, and it'll be funny to see who and if John Klingberg is coming in. Yeah, I think if I'm in his position right now and I'm offered that, I take it. I don't think you can be playing too much poker if the ask is 11 and they're offering you 10, and the season has gone like this up to this point.
I think the message that we're trying to get across here is like the ask shouldn't be 11. Maybe the ask should be 10, and it comes in at 9. Somebody I don't know if they just texted it in or it's over in the nasty chat. But somebody's like, no more than 7.5. Trev, if the Oilers put 10 on the table right now, do you think Bouchard's camp messes around at all? Or do they just say, thank you very much? We'll continue to put up 70 to 85 points here and make $10 million regardless of any other flaws in the game.
I mean, it's tough to put myself in his shoes, but if if Bouchard, like, I have to think that they're like, yes, they'd be blown away. Like, the only thing I can think of, I know that he took a little bit of a discount with his last contract, and I know that there was rumblings that his team, his camp, was wanting more than what he got, than the 3.9 AAV. But I mean, you have to think that his camp, if that's the offer that's brought to you, you've got Zach Werenski, who's 9.5. He's way better than Bouchard. You've got Charlie McAvoy, 9.5 as well. Adam Fox, 9.5. Like, his team's got to be like, hey, you're getting $500,000 more than these, Norris caliber, kind of defensemen. So you should probably take this. And I wouldn't really beat around the bush here, Evan. That's probably what I'd say. That's just a crazy amount of money. I don't know how the fans would be. I know personally I'd be ticked.
10's too much.
10's too much.
10's too much.
Especially what he's doing. He's struggling like mightily. That's one player. Like, there's the Stuart Skinner, there's the Jeff Skinner. Those are the controversial players this year. But I don't think we've talked like enough about how bad of a season Bouchard, just coming off of what he was able to do last year. Like, he
and
put
a good
himself,
playoff run last year.
He put himself on a pedestal. So a lot of people, including myself, were expecting that to carry over, and it hasn't at all. Like, 2 goals in his last 23 games. Like, I remember in the offseason we were talking, could Evan Bouchard be the next defenseman to have 30 goals? And like, right now he's on pace to having 16. Like, he's struggling a lot right now. So I think if that's the offer that's put out on the table, you take it 100%.
I think the number should be 8.5.
I agree.
Like, and if their camp wants to be like, well, look at what Nurse makes. I mean, even you
different
could argue,
time.
yeah, you look at the seat. Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd have to almost just admit and say, yeah, we overpaid him. Like, we overpaid Nurse. Like, you're not getting the 9.5. And I know the cap is going to go up significantly, but you want to be rolling 2 defensemen at 9.5, 10 mil. Like, not that 8.5's that much of a difference. I mean, you're still going to have to be a little bit careful with cap management, but even with the cap going up, that's a pretty pricey ticket. So, and he still doesn't have a power play goal this year, which that just blows me away. It is almost February, and Bouchard on a power play with McDavid and Draisaitl doesn't have a goal yet. That's crazy. Question number 2. Dusty, have you backed off your ridiculous take on the protecting of players in the NHL, NBA, and NFL just yet? No. I think I had some conversations with some listeners yesterday on the definition of protecting. And I who did we talk to yesterday? I think it was on 2 guys and a goalie. We kind of came to the fact that we need, like, I would prefer we don't say protect players and say protect the integrity of the game so players can use their talents as much as they possibly can. Right? My whole thing is I view protecting players as, player safety issues. And I just don't think there's a lot of those in the National Hockey League right now. But I understand where people are coming from on the protect the way players can play, I guess. I think it's a little bit different than just simple as saying protect the players. I think it's a little bit different than that. And maybe it's because the focus has been around a guy who does deserve more calls, but is the guy who just cross-checks somebody in the face. It's an interesting time to have that conversation, I think. When we could actually have what is the real issue with NHL officiating, we have that all year round. And I also like it's not protecting players in the NBA. It's just calling the game correctly. It's just
like when Steph Curry's tackled to the floor, right?
Yeah, there were some pretty wild statements being thrown around yesterday that, I don't know, it got a little bit carried away from me. So, question number 3. This came in via text message. Where is it? 780-218-9999. Here, yeah. 3 questions too many, Big Maple. My parents found some old boxes of clothes and sneakers in their basement from when I was a young teen, and I found my Nike Up-Tempo Air Pippins. What's your favorite pair of shoes that you had as a teenager, or the pair you always wanted and didn't get? Wow, that's the third question. I'm trying to become a sneakerhead now.
Yeah.
With the Nikes.
You've graduated from Skechers.
Yeah, well, with that being said, if I'm going somewhere for comfort, I will be wearing Skechers.
Yeah.
But if I'm going somewhere for looks, I don't mind and they're somewhat comfortable. So I'm trying to become a little bit of a sneaker. I know it's late in your life to become a sneakerhead, but I'm trying to. But I can't remember. I have tons of hats. I can't remember one hat specifically from my childhood. Shoes.
I think I got a knockoff pair, but I always wanted the OG, the Pump It Up.
Oh, I never got a Pump either.
And I
Did you get the light ups?
LA Gear?
Yeah, the light up
I think
ones?
I had an LA Gear pair.
I don't think I had those
are
either.
cool. But the pump ups were like, I was like, what does it do? And I know a buddy of mine had them, and you're like, oh, you're pumping up your shoe. What's
Is it so much tightened around your foot?
I guess so. Come on, it doesn't really do
Great
anything.
marketing.
Oh, absolutely for the kids. I mean, yeah,
great.
But I always wanted a pair of those, like the original, the name brand. I was it Nike, Reebok? I can't remember, but with the basketball,
I think it was a Reebok pump.
With the basketball, the orange basketball.
Those are
and the tongue.
Reeboks, were they not? They must have been
so,
Reeboks.
Yeah. But give me a pair of those.
I got a pair of Reebok sweats right now that are great.
Reebok sweats?
Yeah, Reebok
really?
sweats, really nice sweats.
Never knew they were in that game.
Yeah, they're in the sweat game.
Had a lot of Nike shoes, like the ones with the thinking of that graphic on the side. It was kind of like an up and down type of. They had made some good basketball shoes in the 90s. Like
I mostly wore rubber boots as a child on the farm, so didn't really have a lot of fancy shoes. I had a hat that I really loved. It was like Technicolor, like a bunch of different colors. And one day on the bus, my sister grabbed it, took it from me. And when I yelled at her to give it back to me, she threw it to me, but I missed it and it went out the bus window. And I never got it back. And then in my early 20s, I had a yellow Billabong hat that I must have worn for like 7 years. I still have it. Tammy's like, you got to throw out that gross, dirty yellow Billabong hat. I was like, never. This got me through my 20s.
Was it a bucket hat?
No, it was a really flimsy little yellow hat. Anyway, not many things from a child, though. But Big Maple, enjoy that box. That's a real trip.
See, these ones, like, you know, with the air on the side and the whole, that type of stuff, really high top stuff.
Everybody had in junior high ball, there was I can't remember if it was like Jordan 3 or whatever the Jordan was, where it was white, but then just black right along the bottom.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit shiny, the black part along the bottom. I remember I kind of wanted a pair of those in grade 8, 9, 10. Never got them.
The Adidas shoes also. I mean, the 3 stripe, whether it's the black or the white, those are a hit. Fred Durst. And skate shoes. I mean, everybody had a pair of big, thick-tongued skate shoes.
You know, I was at Sport Check with Marshall over the weekend, and there was a pair of
Etnies, if you will.
Oh, what's the brand?
DC, America.
DC. It was DC. There's a brand. There's a pair of DCs that looked pretty nice. They kind of looked like Nikes a bit, and I was like, man, what do you think about those, Marsh? And they were kind of high tops. He goes, Daddy, I don't want you wearing high tops around. I was like, whatever, man. I'll take your.
Wouldn't be caught dead at
I'll take your thoughts on
past
this.
a place downtown with you.
All right, we got Greg Wyshynski coming up. Let's get to a quick update. Wyshynski on the other side. Weekly rankings of power. That's a good. We haven't even got there yet. Marmot Basin Snow Report and the wrap for William Huff all still to come. And they shout out Herb's Hose for dropping off
some of that coffee there.
Some Ian Dub today. Let's get to the update for Sit and Sleep with Lieutenant Eric.
Oilers falling to the Capitals last night, 3-2 down at Rogers Place. Logan Thompson, 30 saves for Washington. Leon Draisaitl notching his league-best 33rd goal of the campaign. Alex Ovechkin, meanwhile, held off the score sheet as the Oilers will get set to host the Canucks tomorrow night. Vancouver losing to Buffalo 3-2 last night. It was Carolina over Dallas 2-1. Rangers shutting out Ottawa 5-0. And the Habs, they win again. They rally past the Lightning 3-2. 4 games around the NHL later tonight. Toronto at home to Columbus, Boston visit New Jersey, the Avalanche host the Jets, and the Kings welcome in the Panthers. 9 games around the NBA this evening. The Raptors last night clawing back from 21 down to defeat the Magic 109-93. And TGL Golf picking up again last night. It was Atlanta shutting out New York 4-0. Action will resume Monday when 0-1 Jupiter take on Boston. Sit and Sleep is currently offering a winter clearance event, from massive discounts on major sleep brands to unbeatable deals on Canadian-made custom furniture. Our winter clearance event is your chance to transform your home at a fraction of the cost. Plus, enjoy perks like free white glove delivery and special financing offers that make it even easier to bring home the best. Visit us today, South Common, next to Planet Fitness.
8:36 on the Nielson Show. Thank you very much for being here today. The Nielson Show brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Hey, look, I'm a coffee guy now. I spilt a little bit of coffee on one of my notes.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. That's kind of neat. 780-218-9999. Nielsen Show brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot. 90-day payment deferrals here in January or up to $10K cash back. And, I'd go in there with a briefcase and open it up and be like, I'd like my $10K in here, please. That'd be cool. www.southfortchev.com is where you can find more information on just a family-friendly experience with Daniel and his team. We're cooking something up with Daniel for Super Bowl, actually. More details on that here at some point, yeah. All right, I love this one from Brett Litke as we bring in Greg Wyshynski here. Wyshynski should take the blame for McDavid's cross-check because Connor was so pissed off at his ridiculous speculation last week that he snapped.
3 games for Greg.
Let's bring in Greg Wyshynski today. Greg, we've been blaming everybody for this suspension. I think you were just a matter of time until it popped up.
I mean, from what I understand, I am in Connor's corner more than you are on this one, right? Didn't you say 3 games was warranted?
No, I said 2 games. Okay. I thought 3 was a little bit too much. To be honest,
okay, so we're in the same
3.
boat. Like, yeah. I think 3 games is a joke. I don't know.
Came out of nowhere, the 3 games. Like, what do you?
I don't know how they arrive on it. Like, if they're going to do this prior convictions thing with him, I mean, what he did was in 2019. It wasn't a foul that involved the stick, and to me, like, one of the tenets of the Department of Player Safety has always been, let's make sure we correct repeatable behavior. Let's make sure that we, throw the book at repeat offenders. And I don't think McDavid is either of those things. You look at what Matthews did. You look at what Carson Soucy did in the playoffs last year. It's not at all dissimilar to what Connor did. So the idea that it was 3 instead of 2 is mind blowing. I think Matthias Ekholm called it mind blowing too. So I'll steal his word. I think it's mind blowing that McDavid got 3 games, and I don't think that there's any reason why he shouldn't be upset about it.
What have you thought of the conversation that's popped up around it, leading to the way that the game was officiated, simply because of the non-call that was happening just moments before, and obviously some frustration from McDavid, and is popped up a lot about calling penalties. I think for everybody in the league, I think it could be called a little bit more. But what do you think about the conversation that's popped up from this?
It is kind of crazy to think that Connor Garland did not get a holding penalty. Like, if you look on the actual stat sheet, he got roughing like everybody else on the ice got. But at no point did they look at Connor McDavid wearing Connor Garland like a belt and say that's a holding penalty. It's kind of crazy. Most, as has been pointed out by a lot of people, like most seasons, McDavid does get the benefit of a lot of calls. If you look at his raw numbers since he was a rookie, no one's drawn more penalties. When you go inside the numbers and actually look at a per game basis for players that skate more than, say, like 15 minutes a night, it's a little bit less than that. And also, I think that there's something to be examined when it comes to this season in particular, where for whatever reason, Connor's numbers as far as penalty drawings have cratered. He's outside the top.
Like McKinnon as well, right?
Yeah, they're outside of the top 50 right now as far as players who have drawn penalties this season. So I don't quite know how that's happened. I think both those guys probably draw their fair share of penalties with the way they play. So it's something to keep an eye on. I don't know. Maybe the league is pissed he didn't come out to accept the Conn Smythe. Who's to say, Dustin?
Wow. Man,
who's
I haven't
to
even
say
seen
what's
that
going on
theory
in the
yet.
NHL?
Retroactive.
I don't know.
God.
I don't know.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe that we've gone through a whole day of coverage here yesterday and today, and nobody's dropped league revenge for not coming out to accept the Conn Smythe.
That and the chicken wing and everything.
Well done, Greg. That's pretty good.
Greg,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just wanted your thoughts on the club releasing a statement too yesterday. It was about 2.5 lines, 2 sentences in total. I mean, what's the PR exercise going on there, if any?
I mean, I think it's the team probably acknowledging that the fans are all talking about it, acknowledging that people are asking them for some sort of statement about it. I'm sure this is a situation where, Jeff Jackson and Stan Bowman haven't necessarily been going on background or on the record with anybody regarding how they feel about the suspension. So put something out there, make it the official statement, and then they can all move on. I mean, what would you want them to go buck wild like the Rangers did during the Tom Wilson?
Remember when they're like, Tom Wilson should have been suspended? Like,
it's just like, what's the point? Like, it's the problem with all of this, and I think that you see it every time you see a guy like Draisaitl, for example, address what happened to Connor, is that you have to play the long game. Like, the last thing you want if you're a team with designs on trying to win the Stanley Cup, is to, tear down Stephen Walkom's entire officiating department, and then have that come home to roost. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but occasionally it's come out through people like drinking buddy Tim Peel that these referees are human. They have agendas. They tend to call the game the way they want to. Like, for example, ignoring a blatant holding call in the final seconds of a 1-goal game.
Well, we've been talking about the statement of they've put the whistles away. Like, that's like, remember, like in the key moments in hockey, they're just like, whistles are away. Like, you can do whatever you want. At the most important of times, it's, I don't know, the whole conversation has been kind of frustrating. How about nachos last night? I know you've written a whole piece on this. Logan Thompson obviously wasn't happy. It was funny because I was at the game last night. I was sitting down at the other end of the ice, and I saw Perry hammer it home, and then I saw Thompson initially go like what's going on? I said, what's he complaining about? And then I saw the nachos. I said, pretty unique situation, Greg. What'd you think of the reaction after?
It's very unique. I want to touch on the nachos in a second, but I wanted to ask you, the fact that Edmonton did end the game on the power play last night on that Karlsson trip. What are your thoughts on that vis-a-vis what happened with Connor?
Well, I was joking about it yesterday on Two Guys and Goalie. I thought there was going to be like 10 power plays in that game. Like both ways. Like they're just going to come out and call everything. And that wasn't the case. But yeah, kind of fitting. I mean, I think it was a penalty, the one that they called, but kind of fitting. Yeah.
If I could have taken odds on Oilers will get a late power play if they're losing the game, I would have taken odds on that, I think, last night as a little bit of a, hey, listen, we're all friends here, kind of moved by the refs. I don't know. It's just one of those things. We all watch a lot of hockey. We all know how this thing works, okay? We're not dumb. We're not naive. Nachos. In the rule book, there is something that addresses objects thrown on the ice by spectators. Now, there are different rules for things like breakaways and penalty shots. But in the course of play, the rule is basically if an object interferes with the course of play, it's whistled down, there's a face-off in the closest dot. And obviously there was no interfering with what Perry did. Perry said he didn't even notice the delicious tray of nachos just a few feet away from him when he shot the puck. I don't know how you prove that a plate of nachos that was already in the zone by the time Draisaitl skated the puck in interfered with Logan Thompson's making that save. But it would have been a fun argument if the Caps really wanted to press it. But I don't know. It was a very bizarre situation last night.
When the officials gathered, I was at the game with my boy, and I said, I don't think anybody can do anything about this, but I also don't know. Like, I was wondering when they gathered for a little chat, I was like, I wonder if there's something about objects on ice.
Well, the glare off the plastic.
Well, for a goalie, if you're so focused on, if you see something else laying there, I could see why Thompson was pissed. I mean, I get it.
I can see why Thompson was pissed too. I mean, like it's a distraction in the zone. And again, like Spencer Carberry, the Caps coach last night, kind of said, I don't know what the referees were going to do. He also wondered if he could challenge it. And again, I think it's probably one of those deals where if it's in the sight line of a goalie, like 15 feet away, I can't imagine they're going to call anything or overturn a goal. If it was thrown in the crease, obviously it's probably a different story. I think the referees were coming together to talk about how there were no visible jalapenos on top of those nachos. Like, what are we doing? Why eat bland, terrible nachos if you're paying that much for them? The other thing too, and this is my message to my friends in Edmonton, you guys know me, I've been on the show for a long time. We have a great relationship, I feel like. So I'm sure you'll take this advice. Please don't make this your octopus. Please don't make this your fish. Okay.
I hope
nachos are very, very hard to clean up off the ice if they spill out of the tray. We got very lucky last night. That was a self-contained nacho toss onto the ice. But if all of a sudden the offensive zone looks like the floor of a Mexican restaurant, I mean, these games are going to take 5 hours. You know that. So please, no octopying the tray of nachos. I mean, they lost the game, so I think we're probably free and clear of that. But just in case there were any copycats out there, no bueno on the nachos.
The only thing I would fully support becoming the octopus here would be like a regular sized donair, but fully wrapped.
Yeah,
right? You don't want to pop it everywhere, but like fully wrapped in the plastic so none of the sauce can even leak out.
Can I tell you a bit that I never got a chance to do when I was at Puck Daddy, which you guys can steal if you want? I always wanted to do an interview once where I was holding a wrapped burrito, like in tinfoil, and then I was pretending that it was a microphone while talking to a player. And just as he's talking into the burrito, I start peeling it and eating it, but still using it as a microphone. And I was always curious what the reaction would have been.
I'm wondering why you didn't do that.
You never did that on your art beat back in the day. That would have been a hell of a.
I got to a certain point where I don't think I could have pulled off the burritos microphone thing as easily as maybe in my nascent early days at Yahoo when we were doing Photoshop contests of Gary Bettman as Marilyn Monroe. The real wild and wacky days. When you start getting credentialed for things, you feel like maybe you won't get credentialed for things if you go into the locker room and start interviewing players with a wrapped burrito.
Greg, quickly on Washington here. I know I've had some people texting in today and being like, they're a PDO darling, and the roster doesn't blow you away on paper. Thompson's record is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why are the Washington Capitals as good as they are? I guess. What's the answer to that question?
I'm starting to wonder if Thompson might not steal this thing from Hellebuck, by the way, for the Vezina with the kind of record that he has.
And with 2 regulation losses.
With games like he played last night, that's one that anyone who watched that game that's in the Western Conference and is an executive is going to remember because he was really good. I don't think they're frauds. I think they're legit. They were a playoff team last year. They went out and had an outstanding offseason. I mean, the buying low on Dubois, getting Chikrin, who didn't want to stay in Ottawa. The Matt Roy acquisitions turned out really well for them. And then they've augmented it with some of the players that have percolated in Hershey. I wrote about it yesterday on ESPN. The fact that the Chicago Blackhawks had to tear it down to the foundations to go to their next thing after Taves and Kane. The fact that the Penguins are the shambolic zombie of a franchise, unable to retool around their veteran core. The fact that the Capitals have been able to do this, that they're leading the league at Ovechkin's age. There's a little bit of luck involved with Oshie and Backstrom coming off the cap and freeing up that money to allow them to do a lot of those things in the offseason. But it's also just smart investment. The one thing that their GM, Chris Patrick, told me that really sticks with me is there's a notion around the league that you can't get guys between the ages of 22 and 26 via trade. It happens rarely. Eichel, Matthew Tkachuk, players like that. The Capitals have been able to do it 5 times, whether it's Dylan Strome or Rasmus Sandin or now Dubois and Chikrin. Thompson's only 27. It is pretty remarkable the amount of good business they've been able to do taking a chance on players. And and by the way, since 2008, when Ovechkin first made the playoffs, the Capitals have only not had a first-round pick in 3 drafts. It's pretty crazy how they've been able to kind of maintain the success and keep the pipeline full from the AHL and go out and acquire these players that have enabled them to challenge for the President's Trophy this year.
What do you got coming down the pipe at ESPN, Greg?
Bubble watch tomorrow as we take a look at all the playoff races and the current odds for teams making the playoffs or missing the playoffs.
I'm assuming the Eastern Conference piece is a little bit larger than the Western Conference piece.
I am looking forward to writing the West. I think it'll go a lot quicker, but definitely something that Oilers fans will want to check out. Maybe not. Maybe don't tell your friends in Buffalo about it, though. Don't tell your friends in Buffalo about this piece that's coming out tomorrow.
Don't even make the bubble watch piece. That hurts. Greg, we appreciate the time, man. We'll chat next week.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, there goes Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. Your text messages is 780-218-9999. We got to get scooting because we got, that's good. We got weekly rankings. We got the Wrap and the Marmot Basin Snow Report.
Man, I was going to throw these weekly rankings of power anyways if you want me to kind of go through them quickly here.
Okay. I see. Okay, well, I know. Not yet.
Whatever you want.
Let's do.
I'm ready to go.
Let's do. That's good first.
Let's go.
For the Italian Center. Where
Santander.
If you're looking for something today that you want to dive into and maybe you have a little bit left over for a little bit later on, then a panino is what you're looking for from the Italian Center. That's a good. You can't go wrong in there. And hey, why not go in and pick up some for the whole crew? The whole crew will love you. Nobody's ever said, oh, man, didn't like that panino.
A box of cream horns.
Oh,
for the boys.
The options, say, if you want to get herring, they've got herring there. You can go on in and just stand in their deli. Just go stand around and watch everything go on. Yeah.
46. No, I'm good.
No, actually, I'm going to get a new number, and I'm just going to stay right here. Only at the Italian Center where you want to continuously get more numbers just to hang around. I think that would be a good thing. Here's where I'm going from. That's good today. I know people are down in the dumps. It was a loss. But let's just reiterate what happened last night. No Connor McDavid on the ice.
Yeah.
You lose by 1 goal
to
the top team in the league standings wise.
Logan's run in net.
Logan Thompson plays outstanding. You drastically outshoot the opposition. And yeah, you come up a little bit short.
Do you want those fancies again?
But outside of getting the 2 points, and Arvidsson wasn't great, Bouchard wasn't great, Skinner should have stopped the second. Outside of that, and you're the stats nerd on this show.
You want him again? XG 4.7, high danger chances 18-8, scoring chances 34-15.
Like
Any other night of the week.
Dominated
Any
that
other
hockey
night
game.
of the week. Yeah.
They dominated that hockey game.
And who's in town tomorrow night?
Their enemy, the Vancouver Canucks. Like, they dominated the hockey game last night. I know they didn't win it, so you're sad and you want Calvin Pickard to be the number one. But that's good. That's how they played last night. Tommy, was it not a good hockey game? Like, they dominated them last night. They just didn't win.
Hey, Tom.
Oh, I was listening to post game last night driving home. Very convenient to toss on iHeart or tune in and listen to the boys when you're driving home from the game.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's hard.
All right, so that's good for the Italian Center. Last night was a really good game for the Edmonton Oilers. They just didn't win.
And Leon scored 33.
Yeah, Leon was what you wanted Leon to be with McDavid out. Like, it's just, I thought they were really good last night. We usually call a spade. Like, we'll be critical of the team when we need to be. We don't have to worry about anybody slapping the wrist.
No colored glasses here.
I thought they played very well last night. All right, Lieutenant Eric's weekly rankings of power. I know where you're going on this one. So,
top 10 things thrown on the ice
ever.
Yes,
or to throw on the ice now. Like,
no.
Okay,
things that have happened. Things that have been thrown on the ice.
I love this one.
People, objects, food, etc., etc.
All right, number 10. Top 10 things that have been thrown on the ice. Number 10.
I'm combining this one, but it comes here in Edmonton because there have been so many over the years. Jerseys, nachos last night, and beef. We've seen the beef. We know our dear pal Chris Sheets throwing beef, steaks. Everybody's saying it's too expensive in this economy. I'd probably agree.
So you're putting jerseys and beef together?
Jerseys, beef, nachos. It's kind of the Edmonton pack at number 10. Based off what happened last night, again, not encouraging it in this market. We don't want to see it, but it did provide a brief... something else to look at, a shiny object amidst all this suspension talk. So beef, nachos, jerseys, anything basically here in Edmonton that has been thrown on the ice, or I guess will be thrown on the ice.
Number 9,
a live chicken in LA. Yes. Which happened just before Wayne Gretzky was acquired. So it could be the chicken that propelled the Gretzky trade to happen.
I do not remember live chicken being thrown on the ice.
Live chicken in LA here. So that'll be number 9 here. Where is that? I just wanted to get to I had a few notes here on the chicken. Yeah. Chicken was a victim of foul play, Police Lieutenant Robert Westlake said after the game. Not happy at how the Kings are playing. Man responsible for the incident was arrested. Not tased and everything like that last night. But a few months later, the Kings acquiring Wayne Gretzky. So.
The chicken was a victim of what?
Foul play.
All right, number 8.
2007, a 4-foot leopard shark at the HP Pavilion down in San Jose.
You got to respect the Sharks having somebody throw a shark on the ice.
You do, and a shark. I mean, they have a lot of testosterone in them. They're dangerous to handle, I guess. So I've heard. I haven't done it before, but yes, a shark, a 4-footer at that. But down at the HP, it was 2007. Smuggling in that shark would be something else. Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Wings of all teams. So.
That shark is obviously an inside job, right? You're not bringing a shark through security.
What's that in your waistband?
Yeah, that's got to be an inside job through a Zamboni door somewhere.
Yeah, it's something.
All right, as Duck Dad said, man, I'd live chicken number 9 on this list. It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Robbie Fedoruk, remember that name? He tossed a bench.
He did toss a bench
for the Devils following a non-call on one Jay Pandolfo. Robbie Fedoruk choosing to toss a bench.
I can't take Knobloch seriously until he throws something of significance out in defense of his captain.
We've seen sticks, water bottles, etc., but tossing a bench, Robbie Fedoruk, old firehead there.
Number 6.
Maple Leafs, the Eggo Bomber. Do you remember that one? Leafs are in a bit of a slump.
How long ago was this?
Guy was throwing Eggos. I'll get the stats here on it, but apparently it was in the spirit of throwing the Eggos was for the team to wake up and eat a balanced breakfast, like YouTube Trev.
You're stretching a little bit.
The Eggo Bomber. He claimed responsibility. It was the Twitter handle Eggo Bomber. Lifetime ban. People throw hats when they think they're playing good. He said, "Why can't we do something to show disapproval for what's happened over the past 44 years?"
Wow. All right, number 5.
Number 5 on top 10 things thrown on the ice. Hot dog at Tyler Seguin, of all people, not Phil Kessel. He was in a shootout, and a hot dog was pork missile was
number 4
projected at him. The streaker at the Flame Sharks game. This is the only body that was thrown in the ice. The guy throwing his own body.
He fell down and then got hurt right away.
That poor SOB. That was terrible.
Where's that guy
terrible
now?
video? Hey, like he's got to be somewhere with slightly less brain cells. But that hurt also. But the streaker, Flames v Sharks, we all know that one.
Number 3,
plastic rats in Florida. We're getting to now this is the top 3 is kind of your Mount Rushmore. Scott
smelling
Mellenby,
an octopus at
because
some
he
point.
killed a rat at the rink. That's how that all went
down. Yeah,
but then that cup final against the Abs. I mean that you couldn't see white on the ice. It was littered in black.
Yeah,
it's pretty something.
Those are pretty crazy.
Everybody had a plastic rat.
And Patrick Waugh like standing there and
hiding in the net.
In the net.
Yeah.
Number 2,
hamburgers for the Hamburglar Andrew Hammond. Remember
the
run that
Hamburglar
the
run?
Senators had?
Hamburglar run was good.
I love tossing hamburgers. Savage Henry and the infamous 1-pounders.
Why didn't they throw anything for Patrick Lalime?
Limes, hey?
Yeah. All right, number 1.
It's the octopus
It
with
has
the
to
Red
be.
Wings. That's the one. You got grapes hauling that puppy out of Lake Michigan or whatever it was. You know, they're twirling it around. There's tentacles flying everywhere. It's the octopus for the Red Wings. That's your number 1. Top 10. Honorable mention as well to teddy bears, the catfish in Nashville that they throw.
Yeah.
And Magic the Gathering cards at a Sabres game. The guy tossed his phone and wallet, and out of the wallet sprang his Magic the Gathering cards.
And you wonder why the Sabres haven't advanced.
It's a curse.
Their fans are throwing Magic the Gathering cards out. Nothing against people who play Magic, but it's a weird thing to throw out at a
better than getting a shaman maybe to go into the locker room.
Yeah, that was always a great idea. All right, let's get to your snow report for Marmot Basin. Let's find out what's happening up at the hill.
So stoked. Like, winter's here. I'm stoked. You stoked?
Stoked.
Just
I'm
so stoked.
Yes.
I mean, it came down last night, what, a good 5 inches?
Last night, I think so. Something like that, and a couple feet the day before.
You've got a 5-foot base with 5 inches of freshie on top.
Kind of similar to yesterday. 7 a.m. It was minus 11. It warmed up a little bit. Forecast high for today is minus 8. 70 centimeters settled snow base. 169 centimeters total snowfall so far this year. Lots of grooming done last night. 20 runs have been groomed. All lifts are operating as well. Jasper in January continues through the weekend. Street party is always a good time, and it happens on Saturday on Patricia Street in downtown Jasper. For more information on all the great deals out at Marmot, www.skimarmot.com.
Head off your fat little ass or I'll break it for you. Move it, fat boy! Move it, fat boy! I asked for the soft stuff. You brought me the unsoft stuff.
Makes my day.
Marmot Basin Snow Report only here on Edmonton Sports Talk. A lot of people have been really enjoying that. A lot of people watching Getting Up to the Hill and like, hey, boys, thanks for the updates. So that's great. All right, let's get into the wrap for William Huff. If you want your place to look as cool as ours, let him do it. William Huff. Rogers Place looks terrific. William Huff. www.williamhuff.com. Did the wall just...
Yeah.
Maddie must have been over there. That scared me for a bit. All right, what we learned on the show today, boys?
Craig Button, much like you, is a coffee and liqueur drinker in the mornings now.
I did learn that I'm okay with this coffee and
It's not
velvet
bad.
cream.
Now the next step is to go black. I don't know if you're there yet, but
You know, I was thinking when I couldn't find that velvet cream today, I was pretty tired this morning. I thought maybe this would be the show where I actually try black coffee.
that's how it starts.
It was that close.
That's
But
every addict
thankfully
story.
We found the good
I
stuff.
was tired one morning.
All right, let's get to your sound of the day today. And we're going to move along quickly. Let's just go to an old Wednesday clip, eh? I like this one. This is a good one.
Move it, fat boy!
We haven't really mixed that one in much.
You hit it hard in the start of the show, I think.
I did.
You unloaded a clip.
Yeah, that was good. A lot of those worked out really well over the 6 o'clock or check-in song.
Yeah.
That was nice. Text of the day today. I've got some Macramalla intros. Can you bring up the Kid Thunder text?
Yes.
From earlier in the day as well?
It was a press release,
That was a good one.
actually,
Yeah,
is
he
what it
did a
was.
little press release. So that was good. Hey, if you're watching over on YouTube today, Hammer the thumbs up for us before you take off. I'd like to change 300 at some point if we can. Let's see here. There was.
Got it.
You got that one. I think the top Macramalla intro would be guy who shows no remorse or shame over using PEDs in the courtroom all through the 90s and 2000s.
Brian Braun chewables at that as well.
I mean, that was good. But what was Kid Thunder's? I think that's the text of the day.
Kid Thunder, guys, the nacho thrower was a joke. Thankfully, he released a statement. The nacho thrower is disappointed in himself and shares his frustration and lack of nachos in his belly. He looks forward to everyone's support through this process.
Yeah.
And looks forward to having new nachos back in his belly via Seattle next week.
Congratulations, Kid Thunder.
Love it.
You got a gift certificate to A&W. Shout out to Herb's Hose for dropping off some A&W for us today. Right now, 2 bacon and eggers or 2 sausages and eggers or a mix of both for just $6 at participating A&Ws. What are we watching tonight?
Kings in action. They're at home to the Florida Panthers tonight.
Well, that's a nice game.
You're keeping an eye on the enemy there a bit as well. I think 9 games around the NBA, 8, something like that. Lakers, no. Celtics, Clippers, that'll be interesting to watch. Cavs and Rockets. Other than that, I mean, it's just one of those nights here.
I'll just be rewatching the...
You're rewatching the Garland McDavid spat.
I'm rewatching Lakers Wizards from last night, which LeBron James had another triple-double, and the Lakers picked up the win.
And he didn't get tackled on the floor, hey?
No, it was weird.
Did he cross-check anybody?
No, he didn't do that.
The comparables are very
comparables.
Very, very comparable.
And, I can't even get into it. I was going to... Let's wrap up on a positive note here.
Yeah.
We got the hangout coming up. Jasmine, Tommy, Maddie, locked and loaded, ready to go. Brought to you by Sentinel Storage. Tomorrow, we will be setting up the Oilers and Canucks. And what's the fight that we really want to see?
Hey, Tales of the North.
Oh, great Tales of the North coming. That rat
of
Garland.
Longneck.
Oh, God. You know what? Watch on Twitter tonight. We'll be looking for Connor Garland handles for Tales of the North tomorrow. That'll be fun. For YouTube, Trev, and Lieutenant Eric, I'm Dustin Nielsen. Turn on autoplay on YouTube. That'll take you right on over to the Hangout. And hey, if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or EvanstonSportsTalk.com, small dose of Whale and the Wolf, Hangout firing up right away. I'll be back with the Lock Shop at 11. Until then, take it easy.